out there in Dlive land. This is the Trilogy Show. I'm the coin captain.
I'm Gilly P.
I'm BK Johnson.
And we
are
Trilogy.
All right, welcome everybody. For the next few hours, we are going to be just hanging out, a few friends together here on Dlive, talking about a new or fresh topic. And tonight we're going to do it a little bit differently. Normally we would... Whoa, who's coming in here? Lindsay and John Paranormal with the host. Thank you. And also Lady Crochet are giving us a host.
Put all the stuff down the toilet, man. This FBI here.
The FBI is here. Go hide the coins.
Yeah, hide the coins and get rid of the oregano. No, that's
right. But no, we usually will pick three topics. Tonight, we've actually decided, oh, thank you for the lemon too, Lady Crochet. We've decided we're going to actually do one topic tonight, one topic that all of us have some things to share about. We've been thinking about it, and I think we all have a contribution to make. So hopefully it'll stimulate your mind, maybe even your heart. That's the goal here. And so we will still rotate like we always do, but this week it'll just be one topic, and then we'll hear three different perspectives, I guess, on that topic. And that topic is going to be respect. And so we're gonna discuss that. But first, before we get into the information, thanks, Lindsay, for the lemon. Appreciate that. And good to see everybody. We got Callus Gloves in here. We got Elizabeth and Elfsar. Hey, Elfsar, how you doing, man? Thanks so much for spending some time with us this evening, everybody. Yeah, before we get into the topics, let's check in with everyone here. Gil, BK, how you guys doing today?
Why don't you take it away, BK?
Doing great. Playing some Path of Exile today. We have crazy best of 5 stuff going. I just sent a video to Gil, got to see a little preview of it. Funny to see Elfsar here. Got to see Painsar. Got a Pain versus Elfsar. And we had an amazing one with Linz versus Elfsar. Also, Suki Smackhouse took on High Res. Having a lot of fun at Best of 5 at Dlive this week.
So who took on High Res?
High Res and Suki Smackhouse.
Ooh.
Suki.
Yeah.
That was fun. And so, yeah, and we have 3 this week. My sister, R.A. Harold, is making her Dlive debut on Voice this Wednesday. To take on Elfsar, believe. We'll see. Elfsar might be intimidated because the power of BK Johnson. Wait till you see my sister, the older, wiser one.
I'm surprised you got your sister involved, man. That's kind of cool.
He saw it and said, "I want to play a game show." I'm like, "Well, all you need is voice if you." Okay. And she's actually been thinking about streaming too. So I said, "Okay, dip your toe in. Maybe
the sickness.
One of us. Let's get her in here." So yeah, I'm looking forward to that this week. Doomwave and Gilly, my first double VP Best of 5 at Dlive.
So that is this Thursday. He's been talking smack the whole time, and I think I'm going to take a high road. I'm just going to be like, whatever you want, Mr. Wave. It's okay. No, you will win, Mr. Wave. So he's getting more turned up. Putting it down. But yes. We're looking forward to that. We've been hyping that all week.
That's good. Well, I've had a pretty good week. Things are good. I got my Silver Saturday going back again. It's good to finally do that.
You opened up international. Changes. I was there for that. It was like fate. Can't wait to do that. You opened it up international.
I did. Yeah. There's a new. It's a kind of a side program. It's not the same terms as the USA Canada stuff, but yeah, I just I've been trying to figure out a way to get the entire audience involved, and so yeah. Anyway, that's been good, but yeah, I don't know. I've been really busy though. Really busy. So much to do around the house. I'm trying to clean up and now I have to kind of mentally prepare for going back to work. So there are things I thought, I've got months to do that, right? And now I have 1 month to do all of those things that I thought I would have months to do. So I'm kind of hurrying up with the projects, and so yeah. Otherwise, not too much new.
Doing good. Everybody loves the coin cap. That's why you're on top. I'm your bottom.
Well,
even on your.
I don't know about that. I'm normally a bottom, but I mean, I can play a top on TV if that's what I have to do. But last week, when I had rotated to the top last week, I have to say I'm very proud of the moment where I got Gilly P to admit that he loves Star Trek a little bit more than Star Wars.
I don't know. You know what? I might have to reverse that this week.
This week it's so now he's just the flip flopper. All right, Gilly, the flip flopper.
I love both equally. How's that? But yeah, no, it's funny. This week I spent a bit of time going into looking behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I like the coin captain, but I got to be true to myself, so we'll see what happens.
So you were just buttering me up. That's what you're saying, actually.
No. I mean, I still stand by, the love that I have of that show, especially that movie and that movie series of movies is pretty awesome. And like as a kid, it's pretty fantastic. But there are times where, like, I want to get a little deeper in, and I'll sit on the bridge of the Enterprise, and I'll sit down and throw out my own theory of stuff. And then, sometimes I just want to get out of there. So, hey, you know what? We'll jump in the Falcon and see what's happening. And ultimately, I always want to just come back to Dlive anyway, so it's all kind of cool. This is the narrator now of the Gilly P stream.
You are well prepared tonight, sir. I can see.
I want to be on that community stream, but I don't think I'm.
What?
I don't know. No.
I can't even figure out when they're having it.
I don't know when they're having it, and then I messaged trying to ask when it is, and I didn't get a response. So I'm like, I basically said, every time it's on is a really bad time for me. They're going to be a rotations.
Hey, Tall Ship, how are you?
So hopefully there's going to be a rotation sometime. Every time they're on, it's like, crap, I either have something.
So yeah, I love the idea. I want to be involved in it, but last time I woke up at 4 a.m. and it didn't happen. So
wow.
It's nothing worse than, and you know what, when it's early, I can't just go from bed into a stream. Otherwise you're going to see like all the eye boogers and the schnoz and my hair. So I went and had a shower, got dressed, I was all really pumped, and then no one turned up. I was like, oh, okay. But that's more the issue when you have a global platform like Dlive. That's not no one messing it up or anything like that. It just happens that sometimes if things change and you're asleep, hey, you find out when you're awake.
Didn't know that it was 4 a.m. your time last. That's why we were trying to make an.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's right. Because I think Captain and I were like trying to work out what's going on. But again, I love the idea of having a community panel. I think it's fantastic. I'm behind it. I'd like to be involved. I was lucky enough to be involved in the first two, and well, I'm sure that sooner or later, it's Keith will come in and we should be all like, hey Keith, we were bad mouthing your project. No, we weren't. But it's like, hey Keith, can we talk to you guys because we want to be involved in it. Don't let us not be involved.
I've got it ready. Quite ready.
Oh, the Dlive community thing? Yeah. It's an awesome
let's just hijack it. We'll all put the Dlive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trilogy.
Hey Keith, how you doing? You missed the community stream, man. It's already.
There we go. I got it.
I know, right?
I'm in.
Oh man.
That's it, baby. You're in. It's that easy.
You know what we should do? We should really mix it up sometime. I'll put on like the Melbourne background, and Gil can put on, and like we can each rotate the backgrounds. Oh, he's floating away. Come back, Gilly P. Come back.
Yeah, it's dangerous out there in orbit. We had to send the first space monkey Gil out there, and he's doing fine. He looks good. He might have
first
some leg
space
problems,
monkey?
but
dude, seriously?
yeah, you're good.
It's funny.
Like a monkey into space.
To me, every time I think about you floating around in space, the first thing I think of is that time when Charles Wayne came in your stream and the coin was floating and it was like right in your face, and you're like, get that thing out of here. That was the best. Oh my gosh, I loved it. That was when I was doing my little affiliate giveaway.
In the rare times, I was trying to do new stuff and I was just trying to explore new ideas and new things. And one of the things that I wanted to do was play, I broke out my old Xbox 360, and towards the ends of my streams, because of the time difference, a lot more people come in later at night. I thought I'd just play a little bit, and we usually put some 80s tunes on and people chat and we have a good time. And as you said, I think I was maybe 10 minutes in, and suddenly Charles popped up, and oh my gosh, I was like, you got to tell me that the founder of Dlive came in and this is what he's seeing? Like, that's cool, but I wanted to see him and yeah, it was a real moment. It really was a real moment.
I was glad
Absolutely.
to be there.
Yeah, I was glad to be there too.
I was sad to not be there, but I did watch the replay. I got to see Billy P's brain explode and not being able to do anything right. It was finally he couldn't control anything. It's like, the two bottoms. We got to stick together, Gilly. Right now we're
for sure
stick together.
For sure. But you know what? In a lot of ways, this really does lead into what we're going to be talking today, because what I experienced from Charles and the staff is something we want to talk about. And I know, Captain, if I can take over from your topping for a second, we're going to discuss.
Go ahead, top from the bottom there, Gilly P.
Man. We're going to be talking about respect, especially in the realm of live streaming, whether it's Dlive, YouTube, Twitch, or anything else. This is a subject that I think that when it comes to Dlive and the experiences that the three of us have as streamers, if there's one thing that seems to pop up often, it's the idea of respect, both for the streamers and for the audience. So I'm kind of really excited to be able to talk about this. And I know Captain, we've talking about it off stream, usually about BK, because I don't think he respects us at all. He just kind of, the minute he becomes the top, he's all like, my bottoms and stuff.
I respect you in public, but
private, man.
When you guys don't see it, when you see my shirt? My shirt? It's a ninja shirt.
Yeah.
I lurk in the shadows. See? That's me. Respect you until all of a sudden, watch out for those shadows, baby.
Unlike the ninja, BK carries the golf putter, and that'll cut you like sushi every single time. Jedis have lightsabers. BK has his putter. So.
Exactly. Yeah, my putter. You insult me. It's a 5-iron. I can go.
Oh, 5-iron. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Either way.
The length. And arm's reach. But it reminded me of a friend of mine. We used to play Counter-Strike a lot, and he'd get bored of things. So he'd change his name to run around and only use guns. And all he would say, he would not respond to anything, but all he'd say is, after he kills someone or as he's fighting somebody, hit a hotkey that says, I'm sushi chef. I slice and dice like a master. And that's all he would do. And it would make everybody crack up. That's it right there. I was just like,
sure.
Anyway.
That just gave me a great idea. I got to write it down so I don't forget. I don't want to. It's going to be a surprise though, so I can't reveal it yet.
Uh-oh. Slice and dice.
No, we'll talk about it later, guys. I think it'll be fun. It's just an idea for something fun we can do in the future.
Sushi K. There's a very famous science fiction novel called Snow Crash, which I absolutely love. And one of the characters was called Sushi K, and he was a rap artist, a Japanese rapper that was in the underground scene in Los Angeles in the future. And he used to walk out with like swords and slice meat up and throw it to the audience. So
that wasn't about like a train, was it?
Snow Crash? You're thinking about Snowpiercer. There's a movie with
okay. Thank you.
Captain
I was like,
America.
I thought I saw that.
No, Snow Crash is an amazing book. Like, it was written in the 90s. It kind of discussed about the future of the internet, and like very, very clever book. Very cleverly written book and a very clever idea. So if you haven't read it, it happens to be one of my favorite all-time books of all time. I read it every year. And just as a little sidetrack, since we're talking about it, I ended up in the old city of Jerusalem doing some work, and on a Friday night they shut the city down, and there's there's not much you can do. And I saw this book on one of my roommate's shelves, and I said, can I borrow the book? And he said, sure. And I went into the living room, and because I'm so familiar with the book, I'll just open it randomly and start picking up the story, and I know where I'm coming from. He literally walked in 20 minutes later, saw me reading halfway through the book. He goes, man, you're a fast reader. And I went, yeah, it's okay. And in the end, when he left, he ended up giving me the book, so I have it here. And it's awesome. It's just an awesome story. If you're if you're all about live streaming, if you enjoy being on the internet and what the future may bring, definitely check out Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson. Hey, Suki, how you doing?
Suki, good to see you. Suki's our photographer. You can see the great photo behind here of the falls. Which falls is this, Suki? Just curious.
It's so good.
I'm a lovable chip.
Soon to be stream.
Soon to be streamers.
We talked about my sister. She might be a soon to be. I'm looking forward to try to convince her.
Hey,
Much nicer than
BK, are you logged in under the Trilogy Show right now, or are you logged in under BK? I was just wondering if you could take care of what we talked about earlier. You know what I'm talking about?
Do it?
Can you? I'm sending you mental telepathy.
Did I do it?
Yeah, I would go ahead. There we go.
Did it work?
Yes, it worked. Yes.
Oh, it's a 2-for-1 deal?
It is.
Because one of those people I didn't agree to.
Oh.
Only joking.
I'm so sorry, Suki. I'm so sorry. Suki, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Gil...
wait, so we do everything in threes here. We actually have one more person to add, but they are not in the chat. So
yeah.
But we had a few people we wanted to add that we thought reflected the values and I don't know, thrust of this channel. So
thrust. Whoa,
yes,
dude,
thrust.
seriously,
I like
you gotta
using
chill out a
aviation
bit.
terms. I like using it's an aviation term.
It's an
Gil,
aviation
where's
term.
your mind?
What's the opposite of thrust?
Drag.
Drag? Thank you.
I
You want,
thought it was
you want to
clinch.
see me in drag? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no.
Was it a clinch?
Okay, just for the
that's so
record,
good.
I have to.
My
Just
God.
for the record, there's only one of the three of us that has appeared in drag on Dlive, and it wasn't me.
Callus Gloves, how dare you make me do that? Wasn't Callus. It was actually Waldo 89, I think.
That's why I always do my streams from the table, so you guys can't see what I'm wearing underneath.
So you're always in drag, is what you're telling me. Wait, has anyone else done a stream from a bathtub? Am I really the only adventurous one here?
Wait. I just want to say that drag is also an aviation term.
Yeah, thrusting.
Yes, it is. I know. All right.
Keep
Thrusting
throwing
good.
those flaps out. Flaps is an aviation term.
It is. We're flying. We're in space. You were in space. You're just coming into
Just
the
three guys
landing,
talking
Bill.
about airplanes. That's all this is.
Exactly. So good.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Since I'm on top, I can decide that, right? Yeah.
We can.
I can-
Unless hold on, are we finished our roundup? Are we good? Like,
I mean,
have we all
unless
been
you
social?
want to shoot the breeze a little more, we can. You just go ahead, top from the bottom
Shoot.
again, Gilly P.
No. I'm just asking because I didn't hear how BK's week was or how you.
Oh, that
I got
doesn't
your
matter.
week.
We don't need to hear that. Yeah, that doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm
No,
alive.
he did. He told us, didn't he?
I said a lot about the game. I could go on. You want to know more about me, Gil? Oh.
Always.
Ooh, look at that. The bottoms are snuggling up together.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, I'm excited because I did have a sub. I have 80 subs going on my way to 100. Trying to get to a 24-hour charity stream in cosplay. That's right. Starting to play
In
a new
cosplay.
Yeah, that's that. I put it in goals there. It can't be undone. 24-hour charity stream, cosplay the whole time. And also 6,000 lemon giveaway when I hit 100 subs. That's coming when I hit 100. 19 away to go. I was playing
Right.
Path of Exile. Love that game.
Sweet.
What else I got? I'm trying to. Oh, Broken Flower. We got Sexy Time. Go straight into mature tagging. This is. We were talking about aviation though.
aviation terms, of course. Yeah. What
Yeah,
song is this? I
doing
like this
good.
song.
You like this song?
Yeah.
Send it.
Yeah,
Artless.
send that to
I
me.
own it
have
all.
to- I can't like.
You're part of Trilogy.
Yeah, it's faint, so I'm. But I'm.
Do this in the green.
It's making me
Illegal.
sway a little bit. So.
I'll ask the Artless gods. And, hey, can I share this with him?
Tall ship. What a drag, man.
Quinn, yeah, how are you doing, man? How you? Any big news?
Yeah. Any
Any
interesting
small?
news, Coin?
My toes feeling a little better. I can walk almost normally now, pretty close to normal. Not really. I don't
Your
know.
leg is good. Oh, that's good to know.
My leg, not my leg, my toe.
Oh, sorry. That's right.
How's
I
your-
think we're kind of like a little bit like streaming brothers here. So
I feel
know,
left
right?
out, but I'm happy
I
about it.
know. BK, go break your toe, man.
yeah,
Break a
go
leg.
smash your leg up against something.
Break the leg is actually it's the perfect time for you guys to say it, and you didn't went too direct. Now I feel attacked. You just said, you know what, BK, break a leg. I'd be like, oh, okay. But now,
take
it's
your 10 iron or your 9 iron or whatever it is, and
all right. Let's dig in, guys, because I'm actually anxious to talk about this. I've been thinking about this topic pretty much since last night, like nonstop. So I want to talk about respect in terms of live streaming, and you guys will have different angles that you want to take with this topic, and when but feel free to do that. But and I there's also an aspect that I want to touch on that Elfstar brought up in the chat earlier. He said, is respect given, or is it? I think he said, or is it earned? But it's interesting because live streaming is one of those kind of hybrid things in life. There's always that that aspect of, well, you wouldn't say something to somebody's face, but if you're anonymous on the internet, right, then you feel empowered to say something you wouldn't say otherwise. And live streaming is kind of like that middle ground that's a little bit gray between in person. I mean, we're kind of right now, we're all face to face, the three of us. We can't see, we can get text from the viewers, right, but we don't see them unless they come up on panel. But so they
what about in your dreams or your nightmares? I see them all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's actually a good point. I mean, that's kind of a rabbit trail there. But yeah, there's definitely viewers that I think about off stream for sure, like, and both good and bad.
Good.
Ooh.
BK. Ooh.
Ban him, Suki. Ban Captain from the chat room.
Me? I didn't do anything. He was the one that said, wait.
Pops Rebel, mute me now.
He's down there. No,
other side.
There. I don't know where I am here. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I can reorder this so that I'm anyway.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it would be fun.
Yeah, but it's okay.
You're the top. Do whatever you want.
Right. Did the nail fall? No, it didn't. The nail did not fall off, Elfstar.
Is this a euphemism? Okay,
he's talking about my toe.
Oh, good. As long as we're not talking about thrust, dragging, and slaps, we're okay. We're okay.
Oh, the bones are shattered. Sorry.
I fell down the stairs and my toes are broken.
Did you ever see Scarface where he gets shot in the foot and he's like, don't make me feel bad. He's like, well, the bones are broken. It's like, go see the doctor. He just shot the guy in the foot. Don't make me feel bad.
That's exactly what happened to me. Just like that. Yeah. All right. So back to what I was saying. Live streaming is like this middle ground, right? Where we have some face-to-face. We are communicating in a personal manner, but Absolutely. It's still on the internet. And I think some people still feel empowered to say things that aren't something they would feel as empowered to do in person. And maybe some people, there's always going to be the range, right? You're always going to have people that are overly friendly to the point where it's like, come on, say something a little deeper, right? And then you're going to have on the opposite where they're like, I don't care what people think. I'm going to say whatever is on my mind, right? And obviously respect is probably somewhere between those things. But the other aspect of this that I think about is, a lot of times we say, we're streamers, and so we're inviting people into our homes, right? Like this is my channel, this is our channel, right? And we're inviting people in. And I get that. I see that perspective, but I like to look at both sides of the coin. And I know every time I say that, somebody's like, well, there's a third side, it's the edge. Right. Okay, I get it. But
what edge? Hold on. Whoa. Can you clarify?
There's three sides to a coin. There's the tails for eagles.
Oh my God! This is a coin thing. Why is
it's not a
coin stuff already?
All right, forget the coin. All right.
It's all about him, isn't it?
Oh, it's all about the captain when he's on top. I'm telling you, everything's the coin captain. Coin.
I'm an only child. I can't help it. I have a little bit of.
Oh, that's true. You're an only child, aren't you? That makes sense.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Come on, Give
I'm
me a
only
little
not
love,
with
Gilly
child.
P. I feel good
Oh,
when
it's
you
okay.
give me some love.
I always give you love.
I know you.
Come
do.
on.
I know. I love it when you give me love. All right. Anyway,
Oh,
so
boy.
it's like this middle ground, right? Because
Save it for the
I
green room,
see
guys.
that perspective of we're inviting people into our channel, our homes, our lives, but yet this is also a very public thing, right? Like when you're
Absolutely.
in public, I don't think you can have the same expectation of privacy, the same expectation of having things go exactly the way you want them to, and so again, those are these two sides, I guess, of this experience, and it's really interesting to me because I've had streams where, man, I just felt on top of the world, right? Like I was hanging with my friends, everybody was, wow, thank you for the ice creams, Elfsar, I appreciate that. And so do they.
Place. Thank you, Elf.
Gotta make him a mod more often. Maybe we can,
Yeah, right.
I can take it off and then can do it every episode.
Yeah. Oh,
Suki with some ice creams as well. Thank you so much.
That's respect. That's respect. Ice creams and lemons?
Thank you.
Well, that's lemon gelato, everyone.
No, when Gil was a
When we
little
were
girl.
little girls.
When we were little girls. Dang it.
We
How
used to
dare you
like
drag
ice
me in on
cream.
this, Coin? I was going to say, when Gil was a little girl.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Tall Ship.
Dang
Appreciate
it,
that.
all three of us?
That's
Okay.
all for you. Thanks, man.
All for one,
And it's
one for
that's
all.
cool.
Thank
Maybe
you so
they're
much.
trying to get me to
Autocorrect
shut
you.
up. Maybe that's what it is.
No. Keep going. I think that means keep going. Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, because sometimes we need to quiet Gilly P down, so we just start donating.
Yeah, but it's always on the wrong channel. That's the problem.
So I've had
Same
some
like my
streams
ninja.
where I'm just riding high, and everybody's been so cool and supportive and friendly, and it's just the best time, and we all felt that way. And then I've had other streams where it was like pulling teeth, like everything was hard. Nobody
Going through
was...
coins, it's just one coin after another. Nothing comes out.
Well,
It's
yeah, I
like-
mean, I that's actually hard, but that's hard for a different reason. When the coins don't put out.
Oh, boy.
But anyway,
We're talking about coins, right?
no, we're not talking. Yes,
What was
it's a
aviation?
euphemism. It's a euphemism.
Aviation. Okay.
It's an aviation. It's
Yes,
too much
Captain.
drag on that coin.
Captain, where are we
Lift.
going? Lead us. Yes. Top. Where shall we go?
Where I'm leading you is this live streaming thing is it's a unique animal, right? It's kind of this hybrid of personal life, public life, and I think because of that difference or weird middle ground gray area, some people fall to one side and some people fall to the other, and because of that diversity of perspective, it doesn't always go as planned, right? Some people feel more free to express things that maybe shouldn't be expressed in this forum, or and so I kind of wanted to open this up that way to kind of, that's how I'm looking at this question tonight anyway, is where are we as streamers? Are we in a personal space, right? Are we in a public space? And how do those differences impact respect in the channel, right? Is this public in the sense where, well, it's public, so you should be able to say what you think if you're here participating, or is it more of a private thing, like, this is my channel, I'm the streamer, I get to decide what is said and not? And I think there's kind of wiggle room for both there. So I don't know. I definitely have more to say, but I want to open it up to you guys. So I'll just pick. BK, why don't you tell me if anything's resonating with you here, or you have any thoughts on
Yeah,
where
sure.
I'm headed so far, and then we can banter some more
But the main
as it
thing,
develops.
the thing that came to my head was basically, yes, it's a bit of both, and that's why I think, hey, let's get some Star Wars back in here. Let's not go down that path of Gil P, going to the dark side of Star Trek. But it's all about the balance of the Force. I think yes, where it's like, yeah, this is a public domain where that's what we do as the streamers, where it's like it's an open place where you can do that. But then it becomes private because each person has their own stream and their own channel. So basically, it's the respect for me of when you're describing it from a streamer perspective. Again, we can go into different things like out in public or private, or also in family, friends, or just strangers and whatnot. I've definitely probably more to say about that at another time. But for your topic right now, as in relating to the streaming, the platform, Dlive, and any streaming situation, I think it would be a little bit of both, where it's very similar, where like the respect comes from the streamer stating what they are doing there and what they're doing it for. And that's where the respect comes both ways. It's like a two-way street again. Where, like, the streamer will say, this is why I'm streaming, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm thinking. The respect comes from them from not trying to say, no, you should do it this way, or you should talk about this way, or things should be different in your channel. That's the lack of respect, because then at that point, to me, it comes up a lot, where it's like, well, then get your own stream. Like, yeah, if I go to your stream and you want to talk about things like that, I'll go to your stream. But if it's someone else's stream, then you have to actually understand what they want their channel or stream to be. Once you actually learn to work with someone else, I think that's where it comes from, where it's like respecting that they're an individual and a unique person, and that's what they, Dlive is a platform for anyone who wants to, abide by their TOS or whatever it is, and then after that, you make it your own, and that's your own private space of what you want to make there. And if they don't want to respect that, then it's like, that's fine. There's plenty of other channels that probably would, you know what I mean? Like, there's other channels that would be able to do those things that you're wanting, but the respect comes from actually honoring what that individual streamer wants in their channel. So that's where it comes from for me.
Let me ask a follow-up question to kind of dig deeper with what you're saying there. And so as you were describing that, it made me think about the differences between television and live streaming, right? Because television is a very passive experience. It's all one direction. You're consuming, and there's no, you can't be like, oh, hey, television person out there. You can't say to them, I want you to do that differently, or I think you should do this, or whereas live streaming, there is that the two-way interaction, and so my follow-up question is, does the fact that live streaming has a two-way interaction, unlike television, mean that the viewers, have a right? I use that word a little bit loosely, but do they have a right to influence the content, right? Or is it more like television, like, this is my channel, this is my show, I'm going to do what I want. If you don't like it, click off of it. Or is it more similar, it's a two-way thing?
I think it's similar again. I was gonna make a joke that, like, I was like, oh, look what we just did, 2 new mods, and we have a 3rd coming soon. It's like that, where it's like, yeah, I think it's, again, yes, where they have the right to do it, but if they don't take the warnings, that's where, I know that we all have our mods, and some of them overlap, some of them don't. But again, it's like, we do that because we know that they're there to create the type of stream or atmosphere that we actually agree with, right? And that's what we wanted to, not just agree with, but we wanted our channel to be that type of atmosphere, those type of vibes, right? And so we rely on our mods and ourselves to actually say, yeah, but so again, it's not like a one and done thing, in my opinion, because of TV. You're right, TV is one and done, where it's like they can't interact with it. They have to just turn the channel or not. But in streaming, You're right. You have to, you don't have to, but I would believe that the streamers that are more successful in understanding this type of balance is understanding that you have to allow them to breach those barriers 1 or 2 times and then take the action of, you need to get out, or you need to adjust yourself because you're in a place that you're not paying attention to what we're trying to do here. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why a lot of it comes down to, a lot of the times in my brain, I'm thinking, get your own stream, man. Like, why do you want the stream to go that way instead of what everybody here and all my mods and everybody here is trying to build this type of atmosphere? And then they come in and say, no, you're building it wrong. I need it this way. And it's like, okay, you have your say it once or twice, but once you ignore the warning once or twice, my mods and I will have to show you the door. And that's the way I would think it would be. But the respect comes from that, where it's like, no, you have the free will and the freedom of speech to say what you want 1 or 2 times, but if you're not paying attention to any of the warnings, sorry, take the channel. That's the way I think of it.
Okay. All right, Gil, what are you thinking as we're saying all this?
Well, I literally do say to people on my stream that I'm inviting you into my home.
Right.
And, I mean, that's always the way I've looked at it. This is my 2 or 3 hours every night where I get to go and share what I'm most passionate about. And I get to do it with people who I've been lucky enough that they return. And we've created a bit of a community. And, there are times where I think, the agenda goes off because someone decides that they want to come in and they're not interested in what you're talking about or what you're trying to create for a number of reasons. I think there are people out there who, want some attention now and again, and I haven't got a problem with that. I mean, in fact, Captain, we've both had conversations. Oh, thank you so much, Jester.
Jester, thank you.
Jester's in the house. How you doing, man? I've had streams where it's been my choice to have people on the stream where people came in and went, what's going on? Why is Gil letting this happen? Like, I got messages from people during that stream saying, we got your back, man. It's like, we'll jump in and we'll tell. And I was like, no, it's all good. There's a bigger picture here. And, later on, for those who reached out, they understood why I took that choice. But it's always the streamer's choice, whether or not you want to do with whatever you want to put out there and create. And in fact, if you look at it from a Dlive point of view, from not just Dlive, but I think from any kind of streaming platform or content creation platform, the person whose channel or distribution node or whatever you want to call it, you are responsible for what happens on there. You can never sit there and say, hey, someone came in and turned this bad or turned this in another way. And it's interesting because I've been on a number of platforms. I started off on YouTube. It took me a bit of time to understand that live streaming was a completely different platform. I love it. I love the interaction. I really do. But at the same time, that opens up a door of being able to have the conversation run in a different direction. And that's where respect comes in. And the respect has to always be, as we say, two ways. One is, as the streamer or the person driving the content, you need to be able to be sensitive that, you may start in one place and end up in another. That's another thing that I absolutely love about my stream, is that, we may talk on one subject, and then where we end up is somewhere relevant, but I wouldn't have thought about it in a million years. If you ever come over and hang out on my streams, and we do kind of like these chill streams, I'll be sitting there and someone will say something and I'll go, oh, that reminds me. I'll Google something, I'll pull it up on YouTube, share it, and that brings us off to something else. When you open up the forum to be able to do that, and people understand what you're interested in, what you usually present, that's an amazing experience. Those streams, I walk out going, you know what? I never thought I'd be talking about this. I never thought I'd be talking about that. Everyone has a great time. When the flip side of it is when people come in and I call it grinding an agenda. I want you to do this, and I'm not going to stop until you do this. And I've also had that happen in extremes. In fact, it's a shame, but I actually ended up having the experience where I had to shut down a stream because someone grinded an agenda and then turned it into a completely different experience and played off it. To me, that's completely disrespectful. Completely. If there was a problem between, what was being claimed was there was a problem with how I handled it. I as the streamer, I tried to handle it the best way I could. There was a number of things going on. If you're streaming, if you ever in a situation where you've got a chat room going, you are usually juggling 4 or 5 different things at the same time. And you know what? I'll be the very first person to say, hey, you know what? If I miss something, I miss something. But that's why we have mods. That's why we have people we trust in there to be able to take a step back and not worry about OBS, the stream, what you're going to go and do next, what Tidy Labs just did in the chat room. And by the way, I got my cat who's decided that he's going to chew on the power cables all at the same time, and you're juggling all of those sort of things. I'm sure, Captain, you know exactly how that feels with the coins and all the rest of it. BK, when you're bringing people in, it's the same. That's an experience that unless you've actually streamed and you've done it consistently over time, people can't relate to that at all. But where the respect comes in is when the person or the streamer is like, cool, I got it. I hear what you're saying, but we're gonna, that's not the direction we're gonna go in. We're gonna go this direction. I appreciate, you're welcome to come along. Or as I've said quite a few times, a lot of people like to get political for some reason lately, and I'm like, look, you know what? Dlive has hundreds of people. that will talk about politics and the election and all the rest of it. Why do you want to do it on my stream? I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about films, and I want to talk about, being in space and space travel. Why would you want to talk about it with me? Go talk it on those news channels. They get hundreds and hundreds of people. Why grind it with me? I'm not, first of all, even if we discuss it, I'm not going to be an expert in the subject because I'm not passionate about it. Or the other thing that I've been really supporting people to do is go start your own streams. Like if you're that passionate that you can't control what's going on someone else's stream, then take and harness that passion and present it the way you want to present it.
Yeah.
And I think that,
I just really want to second that, because I think it's my personal opinion, it's incredibly disrespectful to go into someone else's stream and try to strong arm them into doing what you want instead of what they're trying to accomplish with their channel, and you've never hit that go live button yourself. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, is this something you would consider streaming or talking about or adding to your channel? And if that streamer says no, but you keep pressing the issue,
it's grinding.
It's extremely disrespectful. And I think, everybody, I think everybody should feel empowered to be able to express themselves. I am 100%. The type of person that's
That's what actually brought me to you, CoinCam. When you went on that there was a little bit of a rant, and I loved it, every minute of it, where you were talking about the where it's getting close to a fine line on free speech restriction, and it's like you were really passionate about it, because I'm very passionate about that too. But again, it's like that's why it's a great topic. And another thing that came up is that with Gil's thing, when he was talking about it, it was the same thing on one of your previous topics. You give some great topics, CoinCam. The goals and success. That helps create an atmosphere. It lowers for those of you people who are starting to get into streaming, and you don't want, what we're talking about here is if you just jump in and say, oh, I know I'm just going to do this and it's going to be okay, you're going to probably get more of these problems with people where you'll feel disrespected when it's not really disrespect. You haven't been clear of what you're trying to build, right? Like your goals, your goals in success right before, you are very clear with what this stream is about. And guess what? If you're not doing that, it's like, oh, dude, go to another channel, because the goals here is pretty clear, So.
No, that's actually an excellent point. And I would even take it a step further to say that that's part of respect on the part of the streamer to the audience, right? Like because I think it should go. Respect needs to go both ways, and actually, putting some care and concern into your stream is part of respecting the audience. I mean, because a lot of people are just like, and they just throw whatever up onto a screen. I mean, sometimes, not always, but sometimes that can actually lead to disrespect in the opposite direction, right? And so by having goals and a direction and putting thought and heart into your content, that is you showing respect for your audience. Absolutely.
I can't second that more. I mean, I think, again, if you haven't gone through the process, the amount of time that I spend putting stuff together, whether it's, literally working out OBS or where the content is going to go. And sometimes I've spent an hour getting content, and then content comes on and it's done in 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, damn, I should have stretched that out. And that's actually another thing when it comes to respect. There are, and I get it, it's the longer you stream, the more opportunity you've got for lemons, donations, and, making deadlines. But there are some streamers, and I'm not pointing to anyone, that will take one point, and when you watch them, you're like, get to the point, dude. It's like we're 30 minutes in, and you've just pulled this thing, it's one word or it's one sentence. We can move on from it, but it's about stretching stuff out, or everything becomes content, right? The idea that I went to the bathroom, it's content. I went here, it's a content. Again, one of the reasons why I sometimes struggle with what I want to present is because personally, I don't want to be famous. I'm not here for Dlive. I know that there was a claim out there that I want to be famous. Believe me, I spent 10 years in Hollywood. I have friends who became famous. Fame is a bitch. Yeah. Let me tell you, when you go into a restaurant and you're looking at how many people are going to come up and ask me for my autograph, and if people don't, you're upset about it, That's a rod in your back for everything that you want to do. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in inviting people over to just come and hang out and just have a great time, and that's it. So you know what? Whether I get one person or 0 people or 100 people, to me personally, I don't care. When people, do turn up, the fact that you are spending time and you're deciding to spend time on my stream in any form, and I know that there's been conversation, it's like, don't tab me, don't open up my stream and go see it multiple people. I'm like, you know what? I'll take that simply because you're still exposing your time to what I'm trying to share. If people are like, you know what, I'd rather they don't tab me, they're not committed, they're not this, they're not that, I'm thankful. And I'm thankful from a respectful place, because time is probably the priceless commodity that we all have.
Amen.
The time you're spending with us right now in the chat room with the 3 of us is time you will never get back, right? And it blows me away where suddenly it's like, no, it has to be, it has to be on my terms. You have to be this, and you have to do this, and you have to be watching, and you have to be donating a certain amount, and you have to be this, or you have to be that. Every lurker builds upon what I'm trying to build. Every lurker's welcome. I'm sure there are people who lurk because they don't feel comfortable talking, they don't feel comfortable, interacting, but we're still building a relationship of sorts. Now, of course, as streamers, we're not able to interact with those lurkers, but as far as I'm concerned, they're incredibly welcome. I mean, gosh, again, I joke about it. I made a sticker that says, look, lurk, and listen. You're welcome. You know what? If you want to, I'd love if you come in and say hello. How many people we got right now? Hang on a second. I
28.
clicked off. We got 28 people. We don't have 28 people in the chat room, but there are 28 sets of eyes. Right? Well, yeah, sets. Otherwise, it's like 56 eyeballs that are watching us right now, and that is incredible. If you don't acknowledge that on some level, you're not being respectful as a streamer, I believe. So it's interesting. Dlive is a little bit of a space where we've had I'm gonna say there are people who are rough around here, and they're like, no, the strong survive. I'm gonna bully my content in here, and I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that's it. And unfortunately, what's a real shame about it is that if you go the other way, if you show respect, you've got more chance of having what you want to discuss discussed than going in there and being like, you're wrong, you don't know what's going on, they pulled the wool over your eyes. I love the one where someone actually called me, what do they call me? They call me a Republican, and I'm like, dude, I'm Australian. There's no Republicans here. They're like, the Republicans got you. The Republicans. And I'm like, what the fuck is a Republican? I don't.
Just as a side question, what are the major political parties in Australia? I don't even know.
Labor and Liberals. That's it.
Okay.
Liberal Party, the Labor Party.
And so which one is? So the Liberals are they the? Which one is the Conservatives? The Labor?
I don't know.
Okay.
You trying to label again, Coin Captain? Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm
No, I'm
kidding.
trying to learn. I like.
I know.
learning.
I know. It's the coins. It's okay. He thinks of everyone as a coin, and we're all unique little coins. And there's a little D and a 19.
I've collected you, BK. You are in my collection.
What am I
now.
labeled as? What's my label?
Boof buddy.
Oh, I love it. There's only a few of those. They're very
Be
rare.
respectful when you're playing with the tube. Sparky Radar though asks,
That's what she said.
Oh,
is
God.
sleeping content?
Oh, God.
Right? And I think that's a really interesting question. As an audience member, well, you know what? I would say, yeah. As an audience member, do you consider it content? Will you watch 7 hours of someone sleeping? That's my first part. The second part is it content or is it being art? When you think about the films that Andy Warhol made in the 60s and 70s, he made a film called Empire that goes for, I think it's 16 hours, where it's just a shot of the Empire State Building in real time, right? But he did it as a statement and an artistic expression. Now, if someone goes and puts an image of the Empire State Building on a stream for 24 hours, is it going to have the same response? So again, you know what I mean?
Just answer your question with the Andy Warhol thing. So if there's lingerie, yes, it's content. If not, no.
Perfect.
Empire State, yes. New sleeping, no. I don't know.
Well,
go ahead.
you bring a good. Okay, actually, I like the art angle on this. Maybe we could talk a little more about that, because I do think there is an art to live streaming, and art isn't always appreciated by some. Like, some people could go into an art museum and look at some of the greatest artistic wonders of the world and be like, this is the most boring thing I've ever.
Sure.
I don't. They don't get it. It has no meaning to them. And I think live streaming can be like that, right? I mean, I've been in some streams that are very, very unique, and I think to myself, wow,
I'm right here, Captain.
Thank you. I'm like,
unique
wow,
is a euphemism.
This is really interesting and fascinating, and then I simultaneously think there's a lot of people that are not going to get this and not going to like it. But I happen to like it because it's an art that speaks to me, right? But I don't know. That's a good question. I think that does influence whether or not something is content, because
who's to judge what's content?
It might be content for
Isn't
a
it the viewer?
small subset, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
You know, and not a content and that's okay. I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, if it's meeting the terms of service, right? Because again, we're guests to Dlive's platform or wherever platform we may be, because I multi-stream as well.
This is not a free any platform that has a terms of service is not a free speech platform. Although I did learn today that there is going to be a free speech platform that I believe the My Pillow guy is setting up called Frank. I don't know who Frank is. Yeah, exactly. But
My Pillow, I've never tried a My Pillow, but I have this weird feeling like they're not as comfortable as he's letting on.
I have no idea. But the people were like, from what I understand, if you've been banned from YouTube, you get a VIP status or something like that. So look, you know what?
I'm VIP.
It'll be interesting it'll be really, you can get on, BK. But it'll be really interesting to see.
But I can go full if you want me to.
how long that actually lasts, whether or not it works. I'm sure there'll be, and you know what? I think it's a great thing if you feel that that's a place for you to share your ideas, then go and do it. Absolutely.
That's why it's all by the terms of service. As the terms of service is, there is no terms of service, and it's the free speech platform, like you said. Yeah, it's fine. And so it depends on what if it's allowed on according to the terms of service, and then there's an actual, again, that's what I mean. Like, who's to judge what content is? That's just judging as yourself. But if there's like you said, the niche viewers, and it's meeting the terms of service, I'd say that's content, right? It's like there's a couple viewers who will like that. Well, then he's giving them a service as that content. And who is anyone to say, well, is he meeting the terms of service? Is he doing that? That platform allows that type of thing. And then there's people watching. There's a viewership. That's content to me. That's what makes content. Not like, oh, well, that's not content. All he's doing is playing music and sleeping, and he's just, he's just utilizing his or her favor for the people who already like him. And I'm like, oh, that could be content.
So just to let you know, this called Frank, which is the social network, it's already come out that free speech social network will ban posts that take the Lord's name in vain. So even though you got free speech, that's literally the first thing that came up 2 days ago.
Yeah, because My Pillow guy. He's
this is the biggest argument I got with my mother about this, because I'd say Jesus Christ, and I still do today, and she gets so angry at me, and I'm just like. And she allows me to say GD. I won't say it because I know we're not tagged there yet. But yeah, like, again, it's just interesting where I'm like, oh, wait, I can say GD, but I can't say JC. Like, how is that? What? Like, anyway. So anyway, I just find it interesting that even there, it just reminded me of home. I'm sorry. I just had to go there. It's like, oh, maybe I meant for their well, no, I'm not. No. Sorry.
So you can say anything you want, just as long as you don't take the Lord's name in vain. So
who judges that? That's what I mean. Because
you're going to get kicked off there straight away.
I'm going to get kicked off. Yes, that's what I mean.
Well, okay. So we're kind of mutated over to free speech a little bit, and I don't mind saying a couple things about that, but I do want to bring it back to respect if we can. But
absolutely.
But I will say one piece about free speech. I mean, nowhere on the planet, including the United States of America, do we have ultimate free speech. I mean, when it really comes down to it, there's always going to be a restriction. It's not anything goes. Like, for one example, you can't threaten somebody and say, oh, that's free speech, right? Like, even in the United States, that's illegal. So there's nowhere on the planet where there's ultimate free speech unless you're by yourself out in the woods and there's no one there to stop you, right? Like that's really the only place, or in your own mind.
Yep.
There's free speech in your own mind. But so, people like to throw that around, and don't get me wrong, I am a proponent of what I would call free speech, but I understand at the same time, even with free speech, there's going to be some limits no matter where you are.
So it's interesting you should say that, because I just pulled up a Newsweek article, and it says that Mike Lindell, who's the guy we're talking about, he goes, "You don't get to use the 4 swear words, the C word, the N word, the F word, or God's name in vain. Free speech is not pornography. Free speech isn't, I'm going to kill you." It is a very well defined in our mission statement. So again, you know what? You're right, 100% right. There is, in certain ways, free speech. Look, I personally, from a I was going to say theological point of view, but either way, the way you want to look at it, the most powerful thing you have are words. That old saying that you learn as a kid, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me," is completely inaccurate, right? Wars have started over words. Lives have been taken over words. Bloodlines have started over words.
But the question becomes if that's right or not. You know what I mean? It's not that the fact that we've done it, because again, if that was valid, it's not
about being right. It's about the fact that
that it does happen. Is what you're saying?
Of course.
Yes, okay.
I mean, when how many relationships start with "I like you, I love you," right? I mean, and how does bloodlines change based on marriages that may be created through a conversation of convenience. I mean, especially when you look back in history, it's we as human beings, the most powerful thing we have is our ability to communicate. What we're doing right now.
So the way I think about it is more, we're talking a lot about like wisdom then, or like the learning from it. Because again, we have to learn from our mistakes. Like again, it would be the same as if someone came into your stream and didn't know what was going on, but wanted to get involved, and then they go out and say some things like that you didn't, it's basically learning from that mistake and going, that's the difference to me, where it's like, okay.
Oh, I just realized my name was all up there.
Aren't we allowed to? Oh, I didn't. That's
all right.
I wasn't looking at it.
Like, oh yeah,
you do that every week, Gil.
I know. I'm so bad with that, but that's okay. Look, you know what? My name's on my thing anyway, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, but anyway, basically, I was just saying that, like, isn't it just like a learn from the mistake, right? Like, speaking of learning from mistakes. Anyway, no, like, it's that where.
If you're smart enough and you've been around long enough, I logged in with my full name from the very first time and streamed from any things. It's not a problem.
Well, wouldn't that be the idea of like, what was it was the respect, and what was this one? It was the free speech, right? Free speech. It's basically, but free speech becomes where it's like, again, we're trying to base free speech on knowing better. That's the problem to me, where it's like, no, if they needed to learn at a certain rate, and that's why we always talk about education and stuff, where it's like, yeah, there was a time in my life where I've said terrible things that I would never dare say in front of the people before, but I've said it many, many, many times. We're in that constantly. Language changes. We always say these excuses like that. Language is changing. What it comes down to is a lot of people saying we should know better, and that's where I disagree with, where it's like, no, we should know better after certain times. Same thing. I do the same thing with my stream. Like, yeah, hey, if you didn't know that because this is probably your first time here, or one of your, and if you keep going, then I give you the warnings, right? If you don't listen, then you get the hammer. And I think that's what we're talking about, where it's like, listen, we're all allowed, the free speech works until you actually are not paying attention to anybody else's free speech, when they say, here's what I said to you, but you have the free speech to tell me, oh, we don't do that here. And then if I don't listen to you and I keep saying, well, sorry, I have free speech, I can do whatever I want, I'm not listening to your free speech. There's a two-way street again. But that's the way I think of it, where it's like, listen, the free speech is true until you don't pay attention to anybody else's, which is why I'm obsessed with Pride, because it's like, if you paid attention to someone else's other than your own free speech, you'll realize real quickly that, yeah, free speech is there, but you have to learn fast enough to say, oh, they don't want me to say that here, because I'm actually paying attention to someone other than myself's free speech. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
This is making me wonder, is it easier for respect to be displayed in an environment where there are few restrictions, or is it easier when there's many restrictions, right? Like, you could go onto a platform where you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Does that make it easier for respect to flourish, or does it make it harder, right? In a free platform or freer platform where there's fewer restrictions, do people, does that, I don't know. It's making me wonder. I don't have an answer to that question, but I'm wondering it.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Gil, or do you want me to? It's such a good question.
No, you go ahead for it. Go, you can start.
Well, what do you? Well, first we have to. I would say, like, what do you mean by respect? Like, what are we trying to? What is the goal? You're saying is it easier for what? Is it respect that you're talking about, or are you talking about free speech?
I mean, we started this out by talking about respect in the context of live streaming. So
yes.
we'll kind of.
So the main question is it respect easier in that constricted or not?
We've been talking a lot
more
about
rules
platforms.
Or less rules.
Right, like, I mean, because Dlive has, I would say, less rules than, say, YouTube does, right, or another, whatever, okay, and so
I would say more rules makes it easier. It depends on your definition of respect.
It's a freer platform than other platforms. It's not totally free, but it's freer, and so does that make it easier for respect to flourish, or does that make it harder? The fact, because, I mean. And then the question, then the kind of the next down the line is it true respect, right? If it's imposed, right?
Is it respect or exactly? That's what I mean. Is it respect or feeling comfortable? It's getting close to comfortable or respect, because comfortability, it's like, sorry to go theologian or biblical. It's like the Tower of Babel. Everyone knows exactly what's going to be done because all the rules are set in place. If as soon as you step out of line, you're screwed. So like you have to be maintaining that level of respect that they've maintained with all those rules. But if you mean like respect with like freedom of speech, I think what you're getting at, I would say it would be easier in a free form. Yeah, it would be I would say it would be a bumpier road to get to the respect, but respect is more able to happen in that free form, less rules. Like that's it. It's harder to get there, but you have the high. It's like an upside, I would say, like the variance. Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like with the less rules, it would be harder to get to the respect, but it would be the most pure form of respect in the way you're describing it, I think. But if you actually restrict the rules, it would be easy to get the low-level respect of everybody knows exactly what to do. But is it really respect if it's will kill you if you don't do it? That's what I think about that. Yeah.
No, that's a good point. And by the way, Elfstar says it's time to rotate, guys. Apparently, he doesn't like me on top. He's like, I don't like that guy on top. I want a different top.
You're in luck, Elf. Can you want to explain what we're doing today?
Yeah. Well, we have. You mean with the topic and rotating? And stuff? Yeah. We're just doing one topic today. So we're going to be talking about respect in the context of live streaming. The whole show. And we're just going to each take turns.
Wait, respect, not this the context of live stream, but respect is the topic, right? So.
Yes, it is. I was.
You're doing live streaming.
You know how to spell it.
I was.
Gil brings in the musical.
Let's just sing, guys. Let's just sing.
R-E-S-P-C. Freedom.
I'm gonna have to start donating to keep Billy Peak alive.
Oh, jeez. I thought it was really good today.
No, you are good, man. All right. Yeah. So I was kind of coming at it from the context of live streaming. You guys can come at it from any direction you guys want. Musical. And actually, you know what? It probably is a good time to rotate because I have to, go take a little break.
Thank you, Jester.
Wink.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you for the 8
the
lemons.
Euphemism, guys. You're taking a break.
Yeah. Take a break.
All right, you guys. You ready to rotate? We're gonna still similar topic, a little twist. The top gets to twist it, but same topic.
Ooh.
Be respectful.
Sparky says, rotate. Be respectful and rotate.
We're gonna take a little break. We'll be back very shortly, guys and gals, and everyone else in between. Thank you. BRB.
시간은 참 빠르지 속도 조절이 안 되지
Hi everybody, we are back.
What's up? Yeah, we're back.
We're
but
back.
I'm on the bottom now.
Hi everybody. He's on the bottom. He's in his place. You liked it there, right?
I do like it there, actually. Yes, it's yes.
Gil
We'll
is
just leave it at that. We'll leave it there. We'll just
Gil's like, get out of that. Yeah, welcome. Hi. Hello everyone. Our topic, you heard it right. We're just rotating. It is my turn. That was the mystery. Who was going to be on top? You're in Japan now, ladies and gentlemen. PK Johnson is on top, and we're going to talk about respect. So respect. I mean, I love the topic. Coin Captain, you did a great job being top. It's not easy. I feel like I'm a more natural bottom as well.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. People always say that I'm very extroverted and not shy and stuff like that. But actually, I started really the opposite. Very shy, very introverted, and I still am actually. It's just life throws you curveballs and you make lemonade, I guess, you know. So I'm a poet and I didn't know it, Gil. Oh.
I don't have that one set up.
So
good.
As we're talking about respect and stuff, like I do think one of the things that it might be kind of doubling back on a similar thing, but I do think it's important to kind of iron out a lot of our thoughts on it first. And as we go along, I think I'll just go down the respect wagon. But first, as a dict, as my old friend Jason,
what did you just say?
Singular Infinity, one of the jokes we used to say is, you know, we're dictionary, like someone who's obsessed with the definitions of words and understanding what people are really trying to say. He would
Thank you, Elizabeth.
We would call each other dicts with a T instead of you know what I mean, like a dictionary person. And so first I want to say, what would you say would be how you would define respect? Is where I'd start, and then I will piggyback back to Coin Captain's original thesis on respect in streaming a little bit to talk about that. But what would you say is respect for you, Coin Captain?
It's hard to give just an overarching definition because I think it's different in every context. You know, I mean, are you talking about respect with regard to a live streamer and their viewers, a wife to a husband to a wife, a child to a parent? I think it changes depending on the context and the relationship. So it's really hard to give a definition. That's my first thought. I don't know. I can think about it a little more and maybe give you.
Yeah,
if you can
think
give me
about
some
it a bit.
more,
I like that.
Give me more context.
I think because the thing is, I'm right in line with you. I just do believe that there is some sort of underlying thing. If we made a word for it itself, that it would actually apply to all those. You know what I mean? Like it would actually apply to all those situations if we could actually nail down that. But I agree with you exactly. Like again, we might say, "Oh, that's not respect," because the child gives different respect to the father, or the mother, or the sister and the brother, or whatever it is.
The father becomes the son, and the son becomes the father.
The older and the younger.
Oh boy, he's going biblical on us.
Stop it. Okay.
No, it's actually a film quote, but that's okay.
Oh, it is? Okay, cool. Teacher.
Yeah, of course it is.
There's nothing new under the sun. but like, yeah, the teacher and the student. There's a level of respect both ways, right? Like, and then we'd say, oh, that's respect, but it's different, right? So that's why I see why it's difficult. But I do believe that there's some underlying idea that actually fits all of those. Gil, what would you say is the definition of respect for you?
I think respect's all about acceptance, to be honest with you. The acceptance that you're not going to judge someone on a difference and label it. I mean, a lot of respect's about, you know, understanding, yeah, you know what, you're different from me, and that's not a problem with that, as long as you don't make it, you know, my line for respect is don't make it personal. Usually when you start making things personal, you know, human beings have this incredible ability to judge something instantaneously and say if it's right or wrong. And I think that's really the foundation of a lot of the problems that we have in day-to-day life and throughout history. So for me, respect is about understanding that just because something is a little bit different doesn't or it's different than I'm used to, you know, it's not something wrong or something that needs to be, you know, placed into a category where, you know, and if you look at what's going on right now in the world, man, how much of this is like people pointing the finger and saying, you're wrong. I mean, that's constant. That language is constantly dividing people up. We don't need to divide. We actually need to come together.
I agree. I like that. I understand where you're coming from, where it's acceptance, judging the differences, and not like, not trying to label each other as and then take the side of whatever not. It's respecting that we're all, I guess what you're trying to get at is almost like respect the differences and that we're all unique in that way. Where it's like, yeah, like we were talking about before, the joking of like son, father, father, son, mother, brother, sister. It's like all those are the differences, but we don't say, oh, you're just my father, I have to do that because you're my father. No, you're actually going to say that's the difference there. And what's the, what would be respect to that difference, right? Not that like something like that.
There's still generations
what's right
and people around today who like, I'm your father or whatever, you will respect me, you will do it. And I'm like, that has gone very much out the window. What's a real shame is that instead of pointing the finger and saying you're different or you're wrong, right? We should actually be, if you have the conversation and understand where that perspective's coming from, not only do you understand it, therefore it's not there's nothing to fear from it, but you actually become a wiser and a stronger person out of that. I just remember being a kid and my grandmother took me someplace and there happened to be some people who physically had different attributes, and I was probably 7 or 8 at the time, and I remember thinking to myself going, I'm not going to hang around those people, they're different from me. And actually the exact opposite happened. And I ended up making new friends that are still friends of mine to this day. And, even when I was thinking about it, I'm ashamed that even at the age of 7, I felt that way. I felt like I had to go and put it into a category. Like they're different, therefore I'm not going to. And it's like, you know what? We had a ball. We had such a great time and such a great friend. It scares me to think that I wouldn't have these people in my life if I kept with that thinking. And it's those sort of experiences.
But it sounds, I love that, because it sounds like a lot of it, that the thing that destroys the respect in the way you're talking about it is the judgment. Because if you judge,
absolutely, it's all judgment.
You said it was like, the judgment is what the counteracting of the respect. So the respect is actually understanding those differences, understanding that there's going to be, that you're a different person from each other person. There's going to be pros and cons or whatever roles there is in reality, depending on who, your relation to that different person could be any variance of higher, lower, equal, whatever, peer, whatever we want to label it as. But understanding the respect comes from not judging that as, oh, he's just going to do that because he's like, again, he's my, you struck a chord with me because that was the first fight I got in with my dad, where I was actually my first final in college, where the first time I ever fought back with my dad was, I was 19, I think, or 18. And I finished my first midterm, and I had 2 more tests, but they were at the end of the week. So I had like 5 days off. But I was going to celebrate with my friends, and he said, "You're staying home. Are you done with the midterms, all of them?" I said, "No. But there's 5 days in between. I'm going to go out with my friends. We're all celebrating, our first finished test together." And like he said, "No, you live in my house. I'm your father. You respect me." And I said, "I am respecting you by telling you exactly why I want to do what I do." And I basically said, if you can't give me another reason other than you want to tell me that your way is right because it's your house, then I will leave the room right now. I'm going out now, unless you tell me another reason. And he said that you should love me and respect me that way. And I said, sorry, we'll talk about it later, bye. And then my mom was like, she called me up and said, what did you say to your father? This is the next thing I heard. But it was like, he was very angry with it. But to me, I felt like, again, this is why respect can be interesting, because we have a great relationship now, me and my father, but that's what I remembered. But it is that where it's like, no, it's not judging, where like the judging is the respect, where it's like, I wasn't judging him, he wasn't, and I felt like he was judging me, saying, if you're being respectful to me, you stay home right now. And I was like, I feel I'm being respectful because I'm not judging you, you're my father and everything. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm thinking, and have a conversation. Or maybe it was me getting disrespectful, I'm not sure. But either way, I do like that judgment aspect. And one thing I do want to say before I swing it over to QuinnCam, is that I love some of the things in chat, like the enjoy being ones. I thought the awareness thing, I actually disagree with those both, not disagree, but I have a difficult time saying you need to be aware, because I don't think you need to be aware to have respect. I don't believe it's beholden upon that, but we can definitely talk about that because that's beautiful. I loved what Tallship was saying. Respect begins with empathetic endeavor to comprehend someone else's sensibilities. Wow. And Suki and Jester, oh, I loved it. So I did want to mention that. I loved what I was reading.
Enjoy Being had another comment just a moment
for it,
ago. It says, you're all stuck talking about human relationships as being what respect relates to. How about respecting nature and animals? It's an interesting take on respect, because I of course I think respect goes beyond human experience. You know, it's not something only. Well, I don't know though.
Well, it could be the same thing. Wouldn't it be
I
like?
wonder, does respect exist in the animal world outside of humanity?
I think. Oh.
There's no insect politics, that's for sure.
So,
you know,
is that something unique to humans? Respect.
I think so, because it would be. I like what Gil was going down the judgment path, because that's the thing where, like, if you respect nature, you don't say this is done wrong and I have the power to do whatever I want here. You'd say, oh, that's their environment. I mean, as long as they don't infringe on ours and we don't infringe on theirs, and we do what we can if we all agree that this is the right way to treat nature this way, and then we'll roll the dice and see how it goes. We're actually respecting it that way, where we're not judging it. We're saying, oh no, like that's where the respect actually could apply to nature as well. I think we're focusing on humans because we're streamers and we're talking about that, and we can actually do another.
You know,
one
it's an interesting thing, because if Enjoy is saying as humans we should respect animals and nature, I agree 100%. I mean, that's, again, it's something that we need to do. We're kind of cutting off our nose to spite our face in a little bit with the way we treat this planet. When it comes to animals, though, no hyena is going to go up to another animal that when he's trying to steal its child to eat it and go, I respect you, but I'm still going to eat your kid, right? I mean, that's not the relationship that goes on. But I think the foundations of respect definitely come into an idea of being able to communicate, and the greater the language and the greater the communication, the more you can start understanding where people are coming from, have that conversation, and also understand. I mean, there's some, oh man, I mean, I love Dlive, don't get me wrong, but there are sometimes I see streams where I have a real hard time being a part of this platform. I mean, there's vilification of people just due to different definitions and things like that. It's really hard to sit and watch that going on. It's a real shame. There's opinions, there's demonization, there's a lot of even if you look at from just, we're talking about political stuff before, but the Republicans this and the conservatives that, and dude, guys, I'm from Australia. I don't understand where that division comes from. I lived in the States for 10 years. I know it was never political. But it's like suddenly one person's right and one person's wrong, and therefore let's demonize them. That their opinion doesn't count because it's not a part of what I want to create or what I want to be a part of. I mean, to me, that's not about respect. That's actually about coercion. Because if I can enroll enough people to believe in what I want to believe, I think it makes my idea very powerful, right? And one of the ways of being able to coerce people into picking a faction is by being disrespectful, is that fear of, where do I fit in? Where's my tribe? Where's that? And again, it's a complicated situation. It's a complicated topic. I love the fact that we're talking about it, and we did start talking about it from a streaming point of view, but wow, I mean, it is not an easy thing. Mankind has really built a framework that really, it can test people. It can test people now, And
Coin, did you have anything for the definition or where we're going as well? Now that we've rambled a bit on this.
Well, not for the definition, but
Okay.
I did have a thought, and actually I just lost it. Right
I'm
before
sorry.
You asked me. I think it was a really good thought, but I need a minute to pull it back here. So maybe just let me
go for
process
it.
for another minute.
Let me know when you get that back.
Okay,
Yeah, because
yeah,
I was talking
I'll
about
interrupt
Enjoy
you.
Being. Yeah, no worries. It was just the
I will
words.
disrespectfully interrupt.
Please do it. Tell me, hit me. I'm giving my bottom the one chance to
Ooh,
disrespect me
well.
from the top. I'm from the bottom to the top. Yeah, again, I think it's a lot to do with instincts in nature, where it's like we have a little bit different. Where again, I think it's like I really liked a lot of the comments of Enjoy Being talking about those different views about it, and it was like, yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of respect for nature is the cause of that too. Sometimes, where it's like, no, if you understand nature is that way, if you lack respect for it and say, oh, it's just being selfish, oh, it's just instincts in nature, it's going to be bad. No, you actually respect nature for what it is instead of saying, oh, that's worse, humans are better than that. We have the thought. Now, what's better or worse is to decide on your own personal opinion. But you could, like that's why there's people who go into nature where it's like, yeah, it could be better for some, worse for others. Like, it depends on what your point of view is what's better or worse as well. So again, it would be like the respect comes into, I do like Gil. I'm going to lean towards Gil's definition a lot with the lack of judgment is like very key for me, I think, from the more we talk about it.
I did remember my thought. Now, it's not along the lines of a definition, though. It's going to take us in a slightly different direction.
Go for it.
Do you want me to hold off?
No, do it. Go with the flow.
So I think one thing that happens, and this is something I thought about 10 minutes ago, and that's, we've said so many things.
I'm sorry, Captain.
No, it's okay, man.
I waffled on.
Waffle away, man.
I love waffles.
I enjoy the waffle.
Way better than pancakes.
I come here for the waffles. They taste great.
We both made awful jokes together. I love you, Quinn Cap. High five. High five. We both made terrible jokes at the same time. I like waffles better than pancakes. And you're like, I love your waffles. They're great here. They taste great. Okay, go. Well, before you lose it, Quinn Cap.
I know, right?
Take us. Go ahead. Bottoms allowed.
So I think
Bottoms
thing,
up.
I think take my booty. I think sometimes people can confuse like avoiding conflict for respect, because I think sometimes the respectful thing is to pursue a conflict, right? And I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to pick something kind of at random out of a hat. Like, let's say you have a loved one who is stuck in addiction, right? And you might think, oh, well, I'm just respecting their space. I just, it's their life. I'm going to stay out of it. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like the respectful thing to do because you love them is to confront them, right? And
involved, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and I think that adds to the gray area. I mean, not to pull it back to the live streaming, but I think some people that it gets gray because they think, oh, well, conflict is my way of being respectful. And that may be true in some contexts and it may not be true in others. And then you'd have to go down the whole line of like, well, when is conflict being respectful and when is it not? And how, and then how do you go about the conflict?
Well, my theory, it's all based on pride of thinking that you're right versus someone else. Like, again, like it's the conflict of like, instead of tapping into the actual care for an individual and respect, actually, to be honest, like the funny thing is, it's the care and respect for another human being. If you focus on that, you get closer towards what you're talking about instead of going to, no, I know that this is the right thing to do. So getting locked in on that is where I think that would be my theory. Again, from what you're telling me, that's where a lot of it's coming from from my point of view, where it's like, I know that this is the right thing to do, even though it's conflictive and whatever, because I know that that's right to do, and you ignore the fact that what if the right thing to do is to care about them and respect them, instead of saying I know. That's why knowing is such a dangerous thing, in my opinion. That's why I'm like, I don't think you need to have knowing to respect anybody. You need to acquire it afterward. Like, again, like you can not know anything and then say, as soon as they react the terrible way, you say, oh wait, sorry, I'm gonna do it differently next time because now I know that you don't like it that way, right? There's where the knowing's good. But if you're trying to say, oh, I know that this is the right way to stream, I know that this is the right way to interact with the stream, you're in trouble.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Think
like,
for yourself.
If you rely on the knowing.
Thank you for the follow.
Thank you. Think for yourself. Ooh.
Good to see you.
There it is, right there. What a name. Think for yourself. Thank you. Sorry. Did I meet that anywhere, or are you guys? Was I going crazy? Let me know. I don't know. I forgot what I said.
you forgot. Now all this forgetfulness. Gil, do you remember anything?
What did we say, Gil?
What? Who am I? What?
Who am I? I don't know.
I'm just very respectful. I'm shutting up and letting you guys go. Respect.
This is what happens when we think for ourselves. It's terrible. I think for yourself. Thank you again for the follow. Hey, we're getting closer. 122, guys. That's a good number.
You know, it's interesting what you're talking about, like getting involved and you know, it's an interesting one. It's interesting balance. I'll tell you why. because what you may be coming from a very positive place, but if people don't want to hear it, it can turn into a negative experience. And I once spoke to someone who was one at the time, one of my teachers, and they explained to me that the world, there's a lot of criticism, and this does go into respect as well. And you should never give, you should never tell someone they're doing something wrong if they're not open to it, right? You gotta respect that if they're not in a place, if all the feedback they ever get is one of criticism and negativity, that by you saying, hey, you know what, I just want to let you know what's going on here, this could be causing you a problem, I just want to let you know, can be taken as more of that and can actually damage the situation. And this is unfortunately the really fine line that we walk right now. I recently reached out to someone. I saw something going on, and I just wanted, I don't want to tell them, hey, you know what, maybe I think you're doing something wrong or right, because to be honest with you, it's not my place to do that. Just wanted them to understand that the full picture, so they could make up their own mind. And in the end, it bit me because what they ended up kind of going on about was, you know what, why don't you just mind your own business? And in a lot of ways, I respect that. I now know where that line is, and I've now taken a line that unless I have a very strong relationship with those people or the people that I reach out to, it may not be any of my own business. Now, if someone's going to go and, let's say, stick a fork in a PowerPoint, you're damn right I'm going to say something. And if I got to tackle them, then I'll tackle them to make sure that they're safe. But if it just comes down to something that's not going to be, they're going to lose their job, or they're not going to, no one's going to be harmed or anything like that. Unfortunately, we live in a time where we're not open. We don't have that respectful relationship with people that they're like, oh man, I get it, thank you so much. You saw that I possibly might drown myself, and you just wanted to point out something that I didn't see.
And this is where the stylistic comes into the thing, because again, we were looking at it in basically hard data of the outcome and what's happening, because we're using examples. But a lot of the times it happens to do with how you do it. You know what I mean? Like, again, it's the nuance of it, because it's like, yeah, as Enjoy Being was saying, and what you're saying right there, where it's like, if I came up to you and said, you're about to get fired unless you listen to me, that's not the right way to do it, right? I'm telling you, you're doing it wrong, Gil. You got to do it this way. I don't think you listen to me. The right way is saying, hey, if you, and then that's why I am obsessed with Pride. If you actually try to reverse engineer it into, listen, try to think outside of your own box and say, what happens if the roles were reversed? Thank you for yourself for the ice cream.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
If you reverse the roles, right? Like
much.
it would be if you break down that pride of that's another human being, that you're actually dealing with. If the roles were reversed, how would you feel? And that's what you try to go down that path instead of saying, I know I'm right because you're going to get fired here, or whatever it is that you're trying to help with. Whether it be as something as low as like, I need to fix your stream or whatever that we see all the time, or other things, you know what I mean? Like I said, like really big things. But it's like
you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You gotta have a camera. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
There's the nuance. Oh, I can't hear you. You messed up again. Your computer's not good enough, dude.
Where have I heard that before?
You're not good. You're not good enough.
Do you know the 5 rules? Tell me the 5 rules. I literally had someone come on. I had someone come onto my channel and literally say that to me. Captain was there, and it was just like, you're doing this wrong. And
there's the nuance.
You know what?
Now, actually, I want to talk about that if I can for a second, because I came into that stream. I'm not going to name any names or anything, but I came into that stream, and I didn't understand the context of that interaction, right? Because you knew this person prior to that experience, and I did not. Mm-hmm. And I found what was happening to be incredibly disrespectful towards you. That was as a viewer, seeing that happen, and you really allowed them to have a lot of mileage with that, and so I respected you because I'm a mod in your channel, right? So I'm thinking, do I need to take action here? Like I'm and out of respect to you, I thought,
that's the interesting thing, Coin. Oh, sorry. Do you mind if I cut you off 1 second before I forget? Because it was basically like, I would say this all the time to my mods when I mod them. I'm like, you don't have to do much, but if you see that the chat's affecting me and I'm off because of that, go ahead and step in. Other than that, game shows is where I need the most help. But most of the time, it's like, if
Just
I'm
use current data instead of 1980s.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
no, but if I'm talking to the chat like a normal stream, or I'm playing a game like a normal stream, and I'm interacting with chat a lot, right? I would say, like, if I'm being affected by it, and what you're telling me there is that Gil wasn't being affected, he was handling it and he seemed okay, is what you're saying, or is that not true?
Well,
I'm not sure.
in all fairness, Captain reached out to me. I think it was on Discord,
Yes.
and a few
I
people
did.
did, and
Okay.
they said, "Hey, we got you back.
Yeah.
You know, we're ready." And I said, I because I was in live, I was like, "No, I got
Gotcha.
this. I appreciate it. If I need help, I'll let you know." Now, what a lot of people didn't realize was that the person who came onto the stream who was doing this had just lost his partner, as in his partner passed away. In a very roundabout way. This person also happens to suffer from bipolar disorder, and he was trying to help me. His intention was, Gil's a new streamer. He's doing something that I know about. I'm considered a bit of an expert in it. Let me help him. The problem was, or what people were seeing, it wasn't a problem. What people were seeing and taking as disrespect was he got caught into a loop, right? And again, I don't believe, I don't want to use people's pain as content. That's got me into trouble a few times now, because I've cut things off where people think that I'm being disrespectful or don't care about them. But my hard line and my hard out is, I refuse to use someone's suffering as content for a stream. That's just me. I'm not expecting anyone else to change it that way or to pull those guidelines. But for me personally, I'm not interested in that. I want to create a space that is positive, that is friendly, that people want to come back to. So you can understand that Captain was in there going, hold on a second, I know what Gil's on about. Why is he letting this go? Well, for me, I came from a place of, I'm going to use the word compassion, because I understood, or at least I had a little bit of empathy for what this person was going through. And I was getting multiple messages from people who cared about me, who were like, what's going on? Like, how long is this person going to go? How are you going to stop him? How are you going to stop? Because the cycle just continued. Now, some people came back and said, Gil, you're a bit of a simp, man. You let that guy walk right over you.
Yep.
You're a pushover.
There's that thing
you should
again.
have told him to go.
Judgment.
Blah, 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 blah.
There's the judgment
completely.
again.
And I thought to myself, and to be honest with you, to hear it from people, not that I was really open, but to hear it without the explanation of, or the understanding that, you know what, it's my stream. I can do whatever I want to do. If I want to let people come in and yell at me, I can do it every day of the week. But for some people who reach out and said, look, I don't know what happened. Like, we were concerned, like, we watched it, we were there, but and Captain's one of them. I think of 3 or 4 other people who came in. Once I understood the situation, they were like, wow, we didn't know that was going on, and you handled that well.
So wait, what happened from CoinCaptain's point of view? Because I'm curious, because outside the streamer, CoinCaptain, what was the outside of it? Because that's good. I'm glad that it was all above board, because that was perfect. I mean, like, on Sexy Time, we talk about communication all the time. That's perfect communication, where it's like, hey, are you okay? And you basically, as the streamer, said, no, don't worry. I thank you for having my back, but I'm gonna keep going for a little bit and see what's going on, right? Like, yeah, it's perfect communication working together to create that.
And for what it's worth,
situation.
just before Captain goes on, it was brutal. Believe me, I walked away with a few scars.
Yeah.
But I didn't. It does this. It just took a few minutes to brush them off, because when people are cycle that way, they're just it's like you're getting hammered, and I think that's what Captain saw.
Yeah, Captain.
Well, can you clarify? I mean, what aspect of the experience do you want me to
I just wanted you to break
on?
down what you're, because then I felt we were almost cutting off your point too a bit. That's why I wanted you to re-elaborate what you're trying to say from your point of view as well.
Well, I mean, I came into the stream and it was already mid happening, right? Like, there's already been stuff prior to me coming in. I'm coming into the stream not just as a viewer, but as a friend to Gil.
Absolutely.
And as a mod, I have different roles that I'm playing. I'm playing a viewer role, a mod role, and a friend role, right? And they all have different responsibilities and things associated with them. But and I was immediately concerned that my friend and the streamer that I mod for and the, you know, the person I'm just happening to view on Dlive is being attacked. And so my instinct is I want to help. And so what gave me pause for just jumping right in and doing something was I could sense, I knew Gil well enough to sense that he was going with this for a reason, right? And maybe if I didn't know him as well, I wouldn't have picked up on that, I think, but I could tell, okay, like he's going down this road. Why is he going down this road? And I didn't understand it, but I had to trust that he had a purpose, right? Or he knew something I didn't. And so I did reach out to him, right? Because I wanted to know. That's the perfect balance.
Because you had the power to go in, but you actually did it from Discord to say, hey, check it in.
Yeah.
It's the caring,
right.
yeah.
And then the question is, what if he was too busy to respond to me on Discord, right? Like then I have to make a judgment call based on my best available information. Now, fortunately, he did respond. So that helped to, you know, then I could just
I'm very bad at that. When I'm streaming, I am really bad at responding to Discord.
Then it just became, I was a passive viewer at that point, right? Because Gil said, I'm good, you know, it just let me be, kind of, essentially. That's not his exact words, but that was his point. And
ask him to pass the rum and hand me the booth.
Yeah, right.
Get it ready for this. You're gonna need it afterwards.
Yeah, I need a big booth after this.
So you know, but even after that, I'll be honest. Even after that, it was hard for me to watch. It was hard.
Yeah.
I understood that Gil had a purpose, but that person, regardless of the excuse, you know, you can say, oh, bipolar, oh, they just lost somebody. That doesn't give that person, in my opinion, a free pass to just disrespect willy-nilly, right? Like, okay, maybe a little more understand, because now
you're calling
that's
Gilly a
Gil's way.
hero. Basically, you're telling me right now.
That's Gil's way
You're
of
right.
respecting him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but that does not absolve this person's responsibility to respect Gil. And Gil was being disrespected continuously throughout that stream. He just chose to tolerate it.
Yep.
But it was difficult for me to watch, definitely.
Yeah, I understand that. It's funny because a lot. I know you have my book. You're getting closer to the end. I can feel it, Kevin. But anyway, like, yeah.
Only one paragraph a day. That's all you get. I'm keeping you on a short leash.
That is plenty. It's a short book. Thank God. All right, I made it short for a reason.
McClunky.
Draw. Anyway, wait, hang on. Whoa. Okay, my thing couldn't be that. Anyway, like, I was talking about Pride releases. Is what I was trying to get at. Is that like where a big? Oh yeah. What? Sorry.
Captain, also just since, I mean, you know, and you made very good points, and I knew what was going on, and it was totally my choice to continue with it. But have you ever seen that happen again?
On your stream?
Yeah.
From that person or at all?
At all.
Not to that extent. I've seen people disrespecting you in your channel, and
we take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, but it not like it happened that night. No,
right.
Yeah, no, it's been dealt with differently.
Absolutely, and I think that's the really interesting point about it. It worked out. I had my own relationship with this person. You know, as I said, I happen to be following this person's story, and you know what? You're right. From a respectful place. And again, going back to that, to the point that I was trying to make before, that sometimes saying to people, "Hey, what you're saying is wrong," is not always the best thing to do. I knew that what he was going to say was not going to leave a mark, or I wasn't going to start questioning myself. And I think my audience also, to a certain degree. Now, there are definitely people out there who may have changed their mind out of that, and I definitely saw a few different, you know, people kind of dealing with me in a little different way after that. But regardless, the end of the day for me, at least, was that I was able to support someone in whatever way you want to call it, and that's exactly how I saw it. I saw someone in pain who was trying to reach out, may not have done it in the right way. Now, again, you're right, that's not an excuse, but it was my active choice to be able to say, hey, you know what? For this one time, I can deal with it. Now, if that person decided to come back in, and actually, I don't know if you were there, Captain, but that person did come back into a conversation with me. And I said to him, you scare me, man. You do. Because I don't know if this conversation is going to be a positive one or a negative one. And I said to him, you can leave marks. And he actually ended up, he was, apologizing and said, you know what, I was in a really bad place. And I really appreciate that you handled it the way you did. And, he openly was like, I love you, man. And now, obviously, it wasn't a sexual thing, but he's like, I love what you're doing. I love who you are.
I'm sorry. Maybe next time, Gil. Good luck.
Yeah, that's right. Next time I'll get lucky. But it was just more a case of saying, you know what? And I had, look, this was quite a big thing. Like, I think I had my largest amount of viewers because it was drama. Drama's great when you want to get viewers. Yeah. And people reached out to me and they're like, you do know that he meant it from a good place. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Otherwise I wouldn't have done it. So, it sometimes being respectful sometimes is taking a bit of a hit. You don't do it every time. It was a very special situation, and I don't stand for shit on my stream anymore. I used to when I started. If someone
family
was negative,
friendly.
Yeah, sorry. I don't stand for poop.
I'm messing with you.
No, but in all honesty, I mean, one of the things when we talk about respect that bothers me a lot is that if you hold a hard line, if you say this is the line, you cross it and that's it, I'm not spending any more time. There seems to be an idea that people can argue where that line is. And that is the ultimate disrespect in my book, which is you crossed the line. Now you've got to be responsible for it. If I don't want you in my stream, or if I don't want to have a relationship with you, if you've crossed that line in such a way where I don't feel comfortable, and I'm saying I as in like the royal we, the editorial here, when you don't respect someone saying, okay, you're over there, I'm over here, and you go do your own thing, and I'm going to go do my own thing. And that other party decides, well, no, I'm going to come in and I'm going to push that agenda. I'm going to bring you up. I'm going to talk badly about you too. I'm going to make you acknowledge me. That is like the worst thing you can do when it comes to respect, because there is no respect. It's all about the other party. Absolutely. And I don't know about anyone else, but in my book, once you've done that, it's very hard to come back from.
Yeah, it's interesting how I love there's so many different dynamics, because one of the interesting things that, like, there's a lot of times where as a streamer, when you try to do those things, like trying to, what you did there, where that person's in a lot of pain, you're trying to give some sort of service back because you know that there's something going on there.
Absolutely.
That you get actually judged as well. Like, why did you let them do that? Or like, I mean, the most hilarious one for me is like, I had a guy who was talking about the occult and asking me to do like magic on there, and they're like, "Don't do it, BK, don't do it." And I'm like, "Oh, it's just like, I'm talking to them. I'm not gonna do it yet, but like, I'm asking. They were doing it. They were kind of a little bit early. I understand the trepidation of someone saying like, "Okay, I'm gonna try to summon a spirit here right now. Tell me exactly what to do. I'll cast this magic spell." But I was like, "Yeah, there's no blood involved. There's nothing like that. I'm getting information here still, guys. I'm not even saying yes or no," but they're like already like jumping in saying, and then they're like, it's the quick to, I know that you shouldn't even talk about this stuff type of thing. Or like, you shouldn't even let it get that far, right? Where you get that far to that. And I think that's an interesting aspect of it. And it's a fine line. Again, that's why I love the balance of the Force. It's always Star Wars. Gil, I'll get you back someday. I'm on top. Will you say that you will renounce Star Trek? No, I'm just kidding. We'll not go there. But it's...
Oh my gosh, what started here between the Star Wars and Star Trek stuff?
I wonder what happened. Some guy injured his leg, got on too much meds, and just started talking that he loves Star Trek more than Star Wars. It's weird.
Oh my gosh.
But no, like as I was saying, it was like a big part of the source is like, I think people like want to release that, because again, you're talking about the excuses. And again, it's not an excuse, but again, it just takes one person like Gil to say, no. I know it's just an excuse, and it's not right to do that to someone when you're in pain, because we all have different pains and different painful situations in our life. But usually someone needs somebody like that at some point, like in that moment somewhere, along the line. You might not have been, and maybe that would be the thing where it's like, maybe you weren't it's like, oh, why does Gil have to be here? But you felt like that was the right thing to do, so you did it, and it's like, it makes sense. But a lot of it is like, the excuse to me is like, when I call it like pride releases, where we end up doing things like that and not understanding what we're doing. Like, that's why like video game addictions and whatnot, or getting obsessed in like in entertainment and stuff, or like things like that, like, you know, the politics of like of sports, like you were talking about Tom Brady one time, things like that, where it's like, oh, I hate that guy, or that video game, oh, this freaking guys, these guys always do that, and I hate that. And it's like those are things that I call like pride releases, where we're releasing that negative energy that we have because we're actually hurt from something else. And we use that as an excuse, and I think there's safer ones than others. And what people don't understand a lot of the times is that we tend to do it into other people. And that's the problem, where it's like, if there's something to do with a personal relationship, like a stream or something where you're actually talking to a person, human contact, instead of just like, okay, I'm never gonna meet that football player, so I'm gonna talk crap about him behind his, like, to my friends all day, because I'm never gonna meet that football player, I'm not gonna be involved in anybody. It's still negative, it's still bad, because that's my conclusion in the book, is like, you still don't want to do it ever, because it's like, come on, like, why are you gonna badmouth that guy just because you don't like the way he plays football or whatever, or the way he acts in interviews? But like, basically, it's still bad, but those are usually safer than when you're actually interacting with somebody, or that you know that you're going to be involved with long term, like a workplace, a family. But I just thought that was interesting that you actually were tapping on something that really interests me, where, yeah, it's not an excuse and it's not acceptable, but sometimes people like heroes like Gil have to step up and take it for the team.
No, wait.
I'm sorry. I'm just checking if he was listening. I'm sorry.
No, I'm listening, but I would not call myself a hero at all. Like, all jokes aside, I didn't do anything heroic. All I did was take, you cared about language. Just take my pride aside and just be like, okay, what can I do? I can get upset and be like, why the hell? Or I could take a moment to be like, all right, I get it. I know what you're saying. In a way, in a situation where you felt very out of control, you found something that you felt control about, and okay, got it.
I love it. I hate the fame too, because that was one of the things I went and hosted somebody one time, and they said, "Oh, we have a celebrity here, BK Johnson." I said, "The day I'm actually
I'd accept that.
The day I'm a celebrity is the day I stop live streaming." Like, wait, I'm a celebrity? Wait a second.
Sometimes we don't have a choice about that, though, right? I mean, we can become celebrities against our will.
Yeah, you want me to stop streaming? Like,
well, but I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, some people have that 5 minutes of fame and they didn't intend to have it, right? You know, and
that's true.
And so,
did I tell you my bathroom story? I think I might have done it once before. Did I tell you?
Which one?
The bucket below the desk?
I used to.
Was it the boofing accident?
No. So I've been on YouTube for quite some time, and I know some people who are very, very, got great networks, and I went to a make-a-thon, and I was asked to be there to judge some stuff, and I went to the bathroom, and I was at the urinal, and I was doing my business, and a guy was standing there smiling at me, and I went, "Captain?" No, I went.
Yes, Gilly P.
And I kind of turned and looked at him as I was kind of doing things, which is bad etiquette. You never stare at someone while they're relieving themselves.
Only if they ask.
And I go, "Can I help you?" Yes. And the guy goes, "Hi, I watch you on YouTube." And I went, "Great, mate." I said, "Thank you. You want to meet me outside? I'll finish up here and we can have a conversation." Yeah. And I thought to myself, wow, that's, fame. What a bitch. But to be honest with you, like, the last thing that the guy actually said to me was, he goes, "Wow, you're exactly the same in real life as you are on YouTube." And I was like, what? No, I'm not. Like, I pride myself when I'm talking, whether I'm on a stream, YouTube, or anything else.
Yes.
I am me. Like, it's an extension. It's actually the way I look at all of this. This actually started when I kept a journal of all the things that I was doing, because I wanted to explain to my kids what Daddy did before the children came about. And I realized I was forgetting these things, so I wrote them all in the journal, and then I started taking photos and pasting those into the journal. Then I had a blog, and then I had my YouTube stuff, and even the even being here on Dlive, I keep a copy of all of these things, because one day I just, if they ask me, I'll be like, you know what, if you're really interested, here it's all, I try to archive some of it for you. Obviously, you can't do all of it, because I want you to know who I am. So why would I want to be anything, different than who I am in real life? When I did a lot of video work, a lot of movie work. One of the first things I did was show my show reel, and if I'm talking about something, I like to show it. That's one of the things I love about live streaming. So it's not like, hey, I made this movie. I can show you parts of that movie, because I never want my audience and my community to doubt what I'm saying. And I really do go far lengths, and that's a respect thing as well. you know, it's very easy to come on and be like, yeah, you know what, I know, just make someone up. You know, I'm good friends with
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. I'm really good for, you know, I ended up doing this thing with Tom Hanks, and people are like, really? And you're like, yeah. Well, you hear stories like that enough times, you're like, this guy's full of it. He's just gonna, you know, I went out with Daryl Hannah. I went at this, I did that. That's bragging. But when you can show them, right? When you can show them what you're talking about, then there's no question about it. In fact, the last stream that I did since coming out of hospital, people were like, we love your Hollywood stories. And I'm like, I don't like saying them because to me, it sounds like bragging. Right. And someone was like, no, but you always show it. You know, you always show us when you can what you're talking about. It's not like you're just
it's just what happened to you. Yeah,
up.
Exactly.
And I'm but there are definitely people who feel either insecure or for whatever reason don't want to hear what you've got to say. And they're like, you know, full of shit, full of poop, you know, guys are lying.
That's two. Isn't there like, how many do you get? Like you get 5 before PG-13 or something like that? I can't remember. There's something like that.
I don't know.
We got 2. Gil gets to use them all.
Yeah.
We got to rotate the triangle soon, Gilly.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's. I don't want.
That guy lies too much about his Hollywood stuff. He's full of poop.
I don't want to be on top when we have to switch over to mature. I want Gilly P's responsibility there. Poop. It's all.
You know, there was
poop.
actually Captain. It's kind of funny. I don't know if I've got it still. I think I might be able to find it in my archive. But someone took the audio from a TV commercial for Pulp Fiction, and they dubbed over it like it was edited for television. And like, so they take the audio and it's like Jules and I forgot the other guy's name, and they're like, "Hey man, the poop matters." Like, the poop doesn't matter, and for me, that's always been my go-to. You know, it's a hilarious like, yeah, because they've gone and they've re-edited, but they've re-edited with people who sound nothing like them, so you know when they've gone and dropped these words in. But it's just like, "Hey man, the poop matters." You know, it's like, oh my gosh, that's great.
When you gotta go to the bathroom.
Everybody poops.
Everybody. Speaking of, Gil, you inspire me though. I think I'm gonna try. I like that. I love that
go
story.
try to poop.
I'm gonna try and poop. No, archive my. Well, yeah, pretty much. You're right. Archive a lot of my old. I actually have my old archives. You showed one of your first streams, CoinCam. I think I've been meaning to actually archive all my streams. But that's what I was talking about, where it's like I look at it, I'm like, I looked at my earliest streams and I'm like, oh, I haven't changed much at all. There's just actually people. There's actually people there. So I want to do that because, and it's the same thing. The core essence of you, CoinCam, was always there. We saw it. That's why we stayed around.
Well,
especially
you're just trying to butter me up now.
You know. Good night, lady. Thank you for being here. Gil, you ready to be on top?
No. I'm good. I'm very humble, but I'll do what I need to do.
I'll do what I need to do. Spoken like a true top.
Lead us. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick bathroom break. A poop break for me.
Poop.
I'll be back. We'll be back soon with Gilly P on top.
You got it. See you soon. Oh, we're back?
We're
back. We're back. We're back.
It's a lemon
Coin Captain
gelato.
donating ice cream and lemon. When I was a little girl, I used to like ice cream. But now I'm not a little girl. I'm a big girl. And I don't know the rest of it, so I'm going to leave it there.
No, I'm a big
Pelicans. Pelicans.
No, a big
Pelicans.
girl.
I know the
Wait.
Pelicans. The Pelicans are going to probably.
And there's
the rest of
something
it's kinda cool.
I like a lot more than
Hey.
ice cream.
Can I
Yeah.
just interject?
And
here?
believe me, enough is never enough.
Never enough.
is never enough.
Something like that. Anyway, sorry. Quick down.
Enough is never enough. Speaking of pelicans, they're coming out with a new silver pelican coin. It's actually really cool.
Again with the coins?
Just saying. I'm just drop that in there.
Gotta buy
All
it.
right.
He's
Very cool.
selling you. He's
No,
hitting you where he knows he can get you. Go.
Okay, we need some more. Okay.
Give him
All
some
right.
respect.
Pelican coin. Well, there you go. There you go, Captain. You know, with the pelicans are flying. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just throw the coin from one side of the screen to the other across. I'll be like,
I was
"Pelicans
doing
fly!"
that on my cigar stream.
Coins were
I'm
flying.
so
You haven't
sorry
seen
that
that video yet. Man, it's hilarious.
I will definitely
just
check it
saying.
out. I have not been around Dlive. I had, as I said,
Dlive? What's that?
Exactly. What? Huh? Is that a euphemism?
Wait,
Australia.
I thought we were on YouTube.
Whoa. Whoa. Are we not on YouTube in a form or not? We should let people know.
Look
No,
below.
we're
There's a
D-Live
playlist.
all
It's-
the way.
We're Dlive all the way, but we need a place to archive because if you guys could do us a solid, we'll stay alone. We'll stay only on Dlive if we can get up to what is it? Is it 1,000 for? You can do that, right, Gilly?
Yeah,
then we can put the videos
thousands.
in?
Yeah, we just need 1,000
absolutely.
followers instantly, and we'll only be on Dlive. So please, let us go. Let us
Let's
do it.
go.
Let's go. Where's the 1,000 people?
I'm waiting for one. I'm not going to say anything until we get one more follower. How's that?
What would we be at with one more? We'd be at 123. 123. It'd be as easy as 123.
Yes, I'm 2. Gilly's 1.
I think I'm gonna have some chocolate. Little Hershey's from Easter.
Well, we're not moving until we get a follow, so. Dance party till we get a follow, baby.
Dance party till we get a follow.
That's not bad. That's not a bad idea, actually. I mean,
You know what's really funny? Because I launched the music from my end. A little message came out and said, "Are you streaming music? Would you like a professional setup?" I'm like, "Whoa, all right, that's kind of cool."
we're not Witcher tagged yet.
No, we are not. We're not. Why would we? Why would we be?
You've never seen me dance, have you?
Oop.
Somebody.
The poop matters. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Jester, thank you for the lemon. All right, we can do one
Very good.
follow or one ninjet before we move on to the show.
One follower, one ninja.
Take your pick. See there.
Shameless.
I'm
Shameless.
shameless. Hey, no pride here, buddy. Well, actually, I had a ton of pride, but you know.
Can
Everybody
I
does.
drop a hint?
What's the hint?
This is for the viewers. I'm gonna drop a little hint. There's a really cool after party today when we're done with the stream. But I'm not gonna tell you. Look, he's like waving in and out. My green screen is like professional. He just disappears.
I'm sorry, Gil. You give me an idea, like, no, we're not moving till a follow, and I just ump the ante and give him options.
Okay. I got no problem with it. It's all good.
Terrible bottom.
You know what? I don't know if I feel comfortable being on top right now. I'm kind of like, nah, it's all good. I'm glad. Well, look,
do you need another
We'll
lemon
help you.
gelato?
We'll help you through it, there, Gilly P.
We're here in our second hour of Trilogy. It's BK. I was gonna get excited.
Thanks,
but-
BK
Hi.
Johnson with the ice cream and the lemon. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that.
That was
Yeah,
easy.
Nick, you do the
There
alert.
we go.
Whoa,
We can move the show along. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rightful UK.
Thank you so much. It's as
Rightful
easy
UK.
as 1, 2, 3.
Comes in and just saves the day. Thank you so much, Rightful. Although I'm waiting for it to be official. I've learned this. Until it says 1, 2, 3 up on Dlive, it ain't official. So
Oh, boy.
we'll see what goes on there.
It's on my screen. Did you if you refresh your browser?
Oh, there, just updated.
Oh, there
for
it
me.
is. There it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
So it's kind of interesting, guys. We're here on our second hour of the Trilogy Show. We've picked one subject to talk about, and it happens to be respect. Both, we started off discussing respect when it comes to streaming. Thank you so much for not coughing into the microphone, Captain. That is respect.
I've
We've,
worked hard on that.
Yeah, I think it's a little hard. I've kind of made all the points I wanted to about respect. When it comes to streaming, I think that, you know, it's I'd like to see Dlive be a little bit, you know, I would like to see, and you know, actually, I'll put it a different way. There are great people, the respect of the lemon gelato. Thank you so much, Elsa. But there are lots of amazing people here on Dlive, and I think anyone who's streaming is streaming in you know, anyone who I've got respect for anyone who streams. I think with great streams come great responsibility, and I'm one who just happens to believe that if you're going to stream a message, you know, you should be responsible for what that message is and what you're able to create. And you know, I'm hoping that Keith will come on board, because I know Keith has started his community panels to try and get the message out there that we are more than just the drama that's unfolded in the last couple of months here on Dlive. So, you know, I want, if it's okay with you guys, unless you want to add something in, I'd like to open it up to the chat room and see what they define as respect, and especially respect when it comes to streaming as the other side of it. We've talked about streaming with some streamers and some of the experiences and all the rest of it, but I would like to hear what people have to say, being viewers, being participants of a stream, because I think that's a really important part of the streaming experience. You can, you know, if I want to go and make a video and then no one's going to be speaking or interacting with me live, that's YouTube, you know, and that's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, YouTube, you can put a video out there and no one ever writes a comment at all. So this is a completely different experience. So guys, I'm gonna keep kind of opening this up, but if you want to go and share some of your experiences, maybe you've had a really good positive experience. I know that, like, to my surprise, when I got to watch Captain Morgana stream with BK Johnson, they came up a conversation and they were like, you know what, it was because of Gilly P that I ended up deciding I wanted to stream, because of the way he interacted with his audience and what he created. Now I was like completely shocked that was actually, I had no idea that was what the experience was. But I'm really glad it was in a real positive space, because what Captain Morgana is bringing to Dlive is unique. And I love the fact that with the podcast stream that she does with BK Johnson called Broken Flower, it's not only talking about a profession that a lot of people probably don't know the business side of, but I love the fact that everything that's being donated is going towards to fight human trafficking, which I think is a huge problem that we have, and definitely something that, you know, crosses the line of respect, and something that I personally think that needs to be addressed. So, you know, I'm all for that, you know, that would never have happened if, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel honored to be just a small link in Captain Morgana's chain and of events and where she goes from here. So to me, it's a pretty amazing experience. So, you know, maybe you've had a really, really cool experience on stream. Maybe you've had a really negative experience on stream. You know, by having these conversations and being able to discuss them, this is where we understand what's going on.
Total Siege said in the chat just now, I just say respect your viewers too. Some
Absolutely.
don't, and I don't watch them anymore. So let me ask you, Total Siege, I'd be curious to have you expound on that a little bit. What does that look like for you to have a streamer respecting you as a viewer? What is it that these streamers are doing that's disrespectful towards you and causing you to stop watching them? I would really genuinely like to hear
some
more
examples.
About that. Yeah,
I've got a sneaking suspicion I might know an example of it, because Total Siege, you know, and I hang out on someone's stream, and it'll be interesting to see. And if he does go in that direction, I'll open it up as well, because I felt that as well on mine. But it's Rifle UK says, I came back to Dlive because people said they would help, but there was only 2 or 3 people that have done what they said. Well, Rightful, I mean, I hear what's going on. I mean, you know, unfortunately, and this has been my experience, when it comes to streaming, it can be a little bit competitive. People may say, hey, you know what, I'll help you out, but, you know, I'll help you to a certain level. I don't want you to become, you know, a threat to what I'm creating. And I mean, that goes right across business and all the rest of it. I hate that. It's one of the reasons why I love being here on Trilogy. It's like BK Johnson, Coin Captain, I think you guys are amazing streamers. I think you're I think both of you are doing things way better than I'm doing, and yet here we are sharing an experience and sharing. You know, that I always say, hey man, you know what? We're stronger together than we are apart, and this is such a great practical example of that saying.
Well, you're only as strong as your word and actually backing it up, right? Like basically, what you say is really big. But like again,
can I address something that just came up in the chat room? So someone asked me who brought me to Dlive. I acknowledge that person regardless of the history that happened between us. Absolutely every chance that I've gotten. I don't think there hasn't been an example of when I haven't acknowledged it. I've actually gone out of my way on some of the successes I've had, whether it was like getting to 1,000, whether it was actually being VP. So I'm kind of surprised. I'm just a little surprised with that whole idea that given Henrik, that you would even ask that you would actually even phrase something like that. You were also in my chat constantly. And given the person that you're actually referring to, I don't think you've ever heard me say a bad word about that person in any way, shape, or form. And it's quite the opposite. I've always thanked the fact that person brought me to Dlive, regardless of what's happened. So I'm not too sure where that's coming from. And if you want to open that up, man, I'm happy to do that here. It's just a surprise.
Yeah.
Well, kind of as a somewhat of a third party here, I think this is an interesting example, right? Because I think Hendrik obviously has an agenda here, and
respect.
And this is what we were talking about earlier in the stream is, you know, you're a viewer, right? Consuming content, and yes, live streaming has an interactive level to it, but you know, like I don't know. I think something like that, where you're coming into a stream with an agenda, and I'm not. This is kind of, I'm a third party here in a sense. I think it can come across as a little disrespectful, right? Because I mean, there's so many other ways.
Well, I don't think it's an agenda even. I think it's judgment too. Because again, when you say you should acknowledge, isn't that a judgment?
Of course, yeah, right.
I mean,
it's
not a judgment.
There are so many other ways
agenda.
that can be addressed. That could be addressed through a Discord. I mean, it's not like Hendrik doesn't have a Discord, right? It's also he has his own channel, right? So I think to do that, it's to me, it's just a real tangible example in the moment of what 100%. We were talking about earlier. Yeah. And as
for opening up on a DM, I'm not going to hijack this. Look, it's not about hijacking. I have my boundaries. I hold those boundaries. It's really nothing to discuss. That the comment that Hendrik that you made was simply to start a conversation. I'm not interested in having that conversation. I'm going to continue doing what I do, regardless. If you want to acknowledge that when that person comes up and has, you know, and whether you think that that's acceptable or not, dude, nothing to do with me, right? Nothing to do with me. And you know what? In all, since we are talking about respect and all the rest of it, and since you brought this to the agenda, Hendrik, don't think that the opportunities have not been noticed over the last couple of months of bringing that person's name into my chat, trying to initiate conversation time and time again. That is completely disrespectful. And it has been, the fact that you even brought that in and you realized that this conversation would be a hijack is perfect to the conversation that we're trying to have here today. So, you know, hey man, it's not about, it's really not about hijacking or anything like that. It's about, you know what? I don't know why, but for some reason it may bother you or may bother other people that I have a boundary and I hold that. In fact, I know you just came in just recently. We just had an hour conversation about why it's important to have boundaries and respect them. So I guess we're having a real life, example.
It's perfect for nuance too, because he just tried to go to nuance. So I'm like, oh, well, you didn't have to say could or should or anything like that. You could say, hey, if you wanted to do it the smart way, not smart. I'm not like it was dumb, but I'm saying like, if I wanted to troll somebody, I would say, who got you into Dlive? That's all I'd say. Because you have to answer. It's a nuance. It's a nuance thing.
Here, right?
It's a nuance.
Let's talk about who brought me to Dlive.
Yeah.
Okay. It was in a sense, it was my son, right? I didn't know anything about live streaming, and my son was like, "Hey, Dad, I want to be a Fortnite streamer," and so I started to look into streaming, and he kind of, encouraged. He's like, "Oh, that would be so cool, Dad, if you were a streamer." I mean, I've told that before on my channel, and just like Gil has acknowledged who brought him to Dlive in the past on his channel, but it's like, as I'm thinking about this, right? I mean, in a sense, what does that matter?
Yep.
Really, right?
Exactly.
Like, okay, so somebody brought you here, but that isn't the reason you're now successful, right? I mean,
again?
that person didn't put in all of the hours and the work setting up the stream, building the content, putting themselves, hitting that go live button, taking time away from your family, spending money. Those are the things that are some of the ingredients, not all of the ingredients, but there's some of the ingredients that make a live stream successful. It's not all about who brought you somewhere. Of course, we should be thankful for the things that other people have contributed to our lives. And I do try to live that out. And I honestly believe that Gil is very thankful to that person for what they've contributed to him. I can, as Gil's friend, I can vouch for that because he's said that to me personally.
Yep.
It's not even that, Captain. It's like, I can, you know what? Not that I want to evidence build because I know what I've done, but I would say that I could go into my archives and pull 10 or more examples of that, and I think that, you know what? Again, this is all about judgment, and that's where respect comes in. Where it's all about judgment. I don't think you've done this. And, you want to say it's a word, you want to say it's semantic, you want to say any of that sort of stuff. Listen, the bottom line is, my advice to anyone, if they're going to go into this sort of stuff is, you know what? Everyone has their own work that they need to work on. I wouldn't be pointing fingers because you don't open the book on someone else, because the last thing you want is someone else to come in and open the book on you. There's a very interesting passage that says that if you want to accuse someone in a spiritual court, the first thing they're going to do is open the book on you and see what you've done. Now, if you happen to be better, and no human being is, then you move forward. So I always have the whole, my attitude is, you do you, I'll do me, and we'll meet in the middle. I say this all the time. It's just a shame that for whatever reason, judgment gets caught up in it, and then you that's okay, you get what's going on there.
So now I kind of want to explore this for a second, because I felt like I was putting, I'm not going to get into too many specifics, but
sure.
last night on my stream, I felt like I was put into a similar position, right? I had a viewer who challenged me about something regarding my stream. And I felt like that's literally what just happened right here between Hendrik and Gil. And I gave it a lot of airtime. I gave it about 45 minutes of airtime, maybe more. And afterwards, I thought I had mixed feelings about it. I thought, okay, well, on the one hand, I felt like I needed to have my say, right? Because they're having their say. So it's my channel, right? Shouldn't I be able to have my say as well? But then there's also the part where, okay, well, I want to respect my viewers, right? Because there's a lot of people here that are literally not wanting to watch this, right? They came here because they want to look at my coins, right? Or we're just having a good old time, having a water or whatever, you know what I mean? And having a beverage together and sharing each other's company. And now we have to get off and derailed. And so, I mean, that's kind of what's happening here. And that balance is so hard for me. And I mean, I'm a relatively new streamer. I mean, I've only been streaming since November, which I consider new. And I don't know that I've figured that out, right? Because sometimes you just, I don't know. I mean, ultimately you have to go with your gut, right? And just, but it's really hard to balance all of the respect that needs to be due. There's the respect from the viewer to the streamer, from the streamer to the viewer, and all around. And I don't know. That's just a really hard thing for me to navigate. I haven't quite figured out. Do you go down these roads? Do you not? I mean, because I don't know. Like, I mean, especially when we're literally having a stream about respect in a live streaming context, and then we have a real world example. I think it's good that we explored it, but at some point, I don't know, like, where is the line? Where do we say, okay, we need to move on? You know, I don't know. I struggle with that.
I think we should move on, but I just want to wrap one thing up because again, it's like there is no beef, like there's no problems whatsoever. As far as I'm concerned, it's like it's all cool. Something happened, right? That's okay. I chose the best way to react for it is obviously like, you know, I wasn't going to react to it. That person can go on, and I wish them all the best. I wish them all the success and all the happiness. You know, I think it was a little bit of a miscommunication, but then again, you know, it seems that what's been aired publicly has been, you know, what it has, and there's no beef. There's nothing ongoing. I just choose not to put myself in a position where that kind of judgment is discussed openly. Now, if that's a problem, okay, got it, no problem. It's not gonna long term, not gonna be a problem at all. So, yeah, I think we should, you know, we had a fantastic example, and thank you for that, of what we were talking about.
Yeah, we did.
But at the same time, you know, it's almost like, and then this is, you know, we were talking about it a little bit before with the other example that Captain and I were talking about. Drama seems to be a way of being able to catch people's attention, and again, I choose not to play into drama, you know, and again, you know, here's the whole thing. If this really was an issue, well, the person that is being discussed by Henrik, he has 6 different ways he can contact me personally. None of them have to be on a stream. None of them have to be broadcast to an audience. If that person wants to reach out, there's no way that I can stop him from doing that, right? That hasn't happened. Why is the only communication coming from third parties?
It's interesting.
Trying to stir a pot.
The same thing happened with me with where it's like I would be happy to work with other people I've worked with in the past, but there's open lines where it's like they just don't. There's no.
Yeah.
I've asked them to, I've messaged them privately, and it doesn't matter. So again, it's like it's
not important.
It's not important.
Truly, like if it's a really important thing, then you will get in contact with that person and deal with it.
The funny thing is why drama gets so popular.
And again, you know, I don't know if that. I'm not saying that this is about content creation or not, but I don't want it to. Personally, for me, I don't believe that my personal relationships with any person, whether they're in the chat room, whether they're in real life, or whether they're in through social media, I choose not to focus on that as content. The same way I don't focus on negativity being part of the content, and that's something I'm going to hold strong. This is probably the only time I will ever kind of address it because it's in context of this. I'm not interested in talking about it on stream. I'm definitely not interested in talking about it with any person except for maybe the person who may be involved. And if that time comes, that's cool. And if it doesn't, that's cool too. And you know what? I think that's kind of where I'm going to leave that. And you know what?
I really liked where you were going with when you were on your topic though in the beginning, where it's like we wanted to know from the viewer aspect of
absolutely
of respect. I think we need to get
so
back
with
to that.
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to acknowledge because Total Siege actually brought something up, and then we did get sidetracked. I did mention it in the chat room, but I think it's really kind of interesting that that Total Siege was saying that, you know, he went onto a stream. There was a game. He asked some questions. The streamer that banned him, or silenced him because he asked some questions and he wasn't aware of it. It's kind of, you know, you can see that happening. I guess one of the things, I'm not trying to explain that streamer's position or why he took that action, but if there were people in there who were trying to kind of grind away a topic or grind away a situation, and that streamer didn't feel comfortable. And I think this has happened to all of us. You know, it's very easy to get a new account. It's very easy to jump in and keep working away with like a new name and a new something. So it could be that in Total Siege's case, that streamer thought that he was a troll coming back in. I'm just trying to workshop the idea, but I can understand if you were brand new and you come in, and the first thing you ask is someone then bans you or mutes you. that's really hard to be able to bounce back from. I've actually had that experience myself, where there's a streamer who I have a lot of regard for, and every single time I go into her chat, everything that I say is ignored, and I'm like, all right, okay, I got it. I mean, I think she's a really gutsy streamer. She's put herself out there with her talents, and I actually were like, hey, you know what? This is the sort of person that I'd love to be able to support. You know, and maybe it's a communication line. I have no idea. I don't think it's personal. I don't think they're like, well, skill, I'll put him on a pay no mind list. But there's a lot of different things. I think also when it comes to this example that I'm giving, a lot of people now restream, so they've got comments coming not only from Dlive, but from Twitch, from Trovo, from this, from that, and the other. There is a point where you get kind of sensory overload. And you know what? Again, I'm not saying this is the example and is the excuse, but I wonder if some of this, is now getting to a point where one person streaming having so much interaction can be a bit of a problem.
Well,
but yeah, you're 100% right.
I think a lot of it has to do, for me, it's always that, like, the point of focus of, like, again, if you focus on the negative of that, it's like, I'm assuming from the girl, Gil, that example that you gave,
yeah,
of the girl who is ignoring your text. Not text, but your messages in the stream. I'm assuming you didn't go up and say you're doing it wrong and like you need to fix yourself and pay attention to me and you need to do it this way, right? I'm guessing that's not what happened. Is that what happened? Tell me, do you just basically stop going to the stream, or what happens now? Or you still support her?
I still
support her, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And then it's just ignore, right? Like, that's it exactly, where it's like that. It's the, why do we have to make it personal? That's the point, where it's like, oh, there's nothing
100%.
personal at all, and everyone again, and that's why I think you're talking about the drama, where it's like, wait, where is this drama coming from? It's because people want to believe it, and then why we're looking for the wrongs and trying to judge and be right. So, like, again, like, I would never stream that way. Oh my God, I would never ignore you. That type of thing. Where it's like, oh, no, it has nothing to do with that. Like, but everyone wants to say, we need to know what's right. We need to know to judge. It's the judging power again. This is why I think it was really amazing that you came up as the definition of respect is the lack of, like, not the judgment of just understanding there's differences and uniqueness, where it's
100%.
like, has everything to do with the judgment of like, oh, he's doing it wrong. Oh, that channel. Oh, those guys are terrible. They ban people all the time. Oh, they banned me because I just asked a question. And it's like Total Siege himself did it right now. He's like, oh, I wasn't banned. I just maybe not want to watch him anymore. It's like, oh, exactly. That's it, exactly. And then you don't focus on the negative of, okay, if we focus on the negative, guess what we all have to do? We have to all get together as a community and go to that person and say, you're doing it wrong. You need to stop streaming on Dlive, or you better start doing it right, doing it like us. And that's where the problem comes from, is that, like, judgment, I think. Where it's like, you should do this, you should do that, because I'm right, our group is right, and your group is wrong. Sounds familiar? Politics. Same from
100%.
lack of respect.
You know what? I think you summed it up incredibly well. Captain, do you have some thoughts on what title was? No,
no, I'm out of this.
And that's the show, everyone.
Peace out, y'all. I better get my clubs. Things are going down.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm definitely thankful for Total Siege's contribution here.
Total Siege is
but
awesome.
I'm kind of stuck in my head about a slightly different direction that Hendrik went with this early. He started talking about mods.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic.
And this is something I hear all the time. Oh, it's not the streamer, it's the mods. Or, oh, it's the mods this, the mods that. Everybody's all focused on the mods. I gotta call BS on that. I do. I respectfully disagree with you, Hendrik, that Dlive should put guidelines for the mods. I think that is 100% solely the responsibility of the streamer. As the streamer, you're the one that's in charge of the channel. It's like the buck stops here, right? And so if a streamer feels their mods aren't doing what their expectations are, then that's the responsibility of the streamer to step in, not Dlive, right? I mean,
it's the streamer's responsibility. There's also a responsibility to manage your mods too. So
and ultimately, I think it's a real cop-out to say, oh, it's the mods, not the streamer, because if the streamer is allowing mods to do things that the streamer doesn't want, then that streamer is really not a good streamer, right? Like you should have some communication with your mods, and you should set those expectations. And if you're not doing that, then you're being an irresponsible, in my opinion, you're being an irresponsible streamer. And of course, there's going to be differences of opinions there, but all I can do is I can speak for my own channel. If a mod takes action and I disagree with it, I'm going to have a conversation with that mod about that in a private context and resolve it, right? So, you know, to say like, oh, well, this mod banned somebody in this channel, if the mod lets that ban stand going forward, like after a private conversation ensues, then that streamer wants the ban.
This is so key for the drama though, because I've had this happen where they come to me and private message me, hey, I was banned from your mod here, and they didn't do it in the stream. And I'm like, great, here's the warning. I'll talk to them about it and we'll talk it over. I didn't get to see what happened because I was in the middle of a game show, but they banned you. They're my mod. It's my responsibility. They have the right to do that. But I thank them for doing it privately, because if you do it publicly, it's creating drama, isn't it? It's like, I was wrong. You're doing it wrong. Your mod is crap. How about doing it privately instead? Because that exactly happened to me, where it's like, no, and then you're right. It's like, it's key to contact the mod and privately. And it's like, hey, yeah, what's going on? And work it out. So, yeah.
No,
Jester said Captain Black Screen. I don't know what that means.
It's Captain Black from the Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. That's something I talked about. So it's all kind of cool.
Black Screen. I don't know.
Anyway, sorry, Kat, what were you saying about it? Because you.
There you go, Captain. There he is.
There's Captain Black Screen.
Captain Black Screen. Where did I go?
You broke yourself.
Yeah, that's cool.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Holy cow! Can you hear me still?
We can hear you. You're the ghost of Corn Captain.
Where did I go?
This is freaky, guys.
So
this is weird.
So you know, I think it's kind of I think it's an interesting situation. I think you know what, I'm not too sure what's going on. You know, I've known Henrik for a while. He was one of the first people to come in on my stream and all the rest of it. And I'm not too sure what seems to be, you know, there seems to be. We're talking about grinding an axe or grinding a
well, it sounds
point.
personal.
Yeah, you've broken it.
Whenever it's personal to say this and that, you know, it's like it's getting personal.
Sure.
Where it's like.
And again, I mean, I'm not too sure exactly what's going on, but it's like this is called grinding a topic. Like, we've moved on, but you know, Henrik, you're putting stuff in here that is the definition of disrespect. It really is, and I've got to, you know, I'm just like, I'm not too sure. Like, you know, it's kind of one of those situations where you try to leave as many options. The captain's gone completely. He's just completely left. It's you've driven the captain away. It's kind of scary.
He's back.
But you know what? I think, you know, I want to acknowledge it, but I want to acknowledge it to leave a door open, because I don't want more drama in this sort of stuff. But at the same time, I'll be totally honest with you, Henrik. Man, you're coming up to that line where it's like, I'm kind of almost done with this. And you know, I'd hate for you to then go away and go, but I don't, you know, he won't talk to me, he won't acknowledge me now. It's like, dude, it's really simple. I'm gonna say this, and I hope you hear it. Before you ask to open the book on someone else, worry about your own household. You know what? And again, I'm saying this respectfully. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about the other person. We're gonna, yes, there you go.
Everything's sliding around.
Everything's sliding around.
Gil on a roll, yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about it. Just don't, you know what? Whatever's gonna happen will happen, and it's not gonna be a problem. Just deal with whatever you gotta deal with. Work with whatever you got to work with, and you know, build those friendships, build those relationships. I'm sure the person we're talking about, as you say in chat room, he's a big enough person to be able to deal with it. He's done it openly on his channel, right? He's done everything.
Look, wait, Gil, there's a real question. See there again, we could have gone straight to that instead of all the other things.
Actually, to be honest with you,
I'm just saying that's the question. I know, but like there's no, but that's the actual question. That's an actual valid question. The other ones were more accusatory. This is actually saying yes or no, and you just say no. You can say no. It's not saying you have to say yes. You don't have to say yes.
There's nothing to discuss. And I think, I don't know if I was clear about it before. So again, just for clarification's sake, because I am dropping this after this, there is not going to be a comment. I'm not discussing it with anyone. The only person that I may discuss this with in the right situation is the other person involved. And as far as I'm concerned, I am not involved. Everything that has come through from another thing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I can't control anything. I can't control anyone's stuff. But it's interesting that it keeps coming back, and it's almost like, and again, this is such a
you're doing it wrong.
thing.
That's why. I'm sorry. Don't
Right,
listen to
yeah,
me. Don't listen to me.
because
I was sarcasm. Do not take that seriously, Gil.
But seriously, BK, you're you just hit
That's it.
the bullseye, like Robin Hood. Why has this happened? Because this initially started that someone wanted me to take an action. I didn't, right? And it's now seems to have kind of become infectious, that it's like, well, you're still not doing the right thing.
Yep.
Therefore, we're still going to. It's like, guys, it's really, really simple. I always.
It means that you can't make a mistake, Gil. Sorry, you can't make one mistake, and it's not even a mistake.
Listen.
No, I'm just saying, like, if it was or not, it's not. Again, it's like it's a bunch of crap. It's not even a mistake. But I'm saying, where does that mindset come from? It's that
100%.
He should know better.
Like,
Gil should know better. Come on.
Not just that. I mean, you know what?
I'm sorry.
Again,
I just laugh
it's not a threat
pride.
or anything like that, but it's like, given the last
crap.
week, the last thing I want to do is come onto Dlive, take the time that I can stream, and deal with this sort of nonsense. It actually makes me feel like it's like, that's cool, man. I'll take another 2 weeks off. And if no one else comes back, it's cool, man. I don't mind. I think there's a lot of people who would be like, I don't want you to do that. But it's just like, it's actually, this is the definition of trolling. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing until I get the result that I want.
Yeah.
And you know what, Henrik, I've given don't think that what has been said on your stream with other parties went unnoticed. They were well noticed. I chose to ignore them. I chose to give you as wide a berth as possible. But in the same way as the other person that you're discussing, I'm not going to put myself into a situation where I'm going to be accused or thing. And maybe, Henrik, maybe the best thing is that you leave me alone and go do your own thing, and I'll just go and do my own thing too, and that's it. But what I won't do, and I will be incredibly strong on, is a boundary. And I think you got there, mate. I think you got there. And that's the last I'm going to say about it.
Exactly. Total Siege. Summing it up, baby.
What did Total Siege say?
Respects everyone. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I agree with that. It's all good, man.
Oh wait, CoinCap's mic is broke.
Oh, I was
no.
muted.
Okay,
Apparently.
good.
That was a self mute by accident.
Okay.
There you go, man. It's all good.
The video.
I won't turn my video off again because that just caused everything to go haywire.
Amazing. CoinCap, you started it all. You started with on the top of the pyramid, and then we did it, and then we went into the laboratory. Hey, shout out to Discord, the lab. We went into the lab, Gil. We saw an example. Perfect example.
We did. Awesome example. And you know what? It's all good. You know what? I just, it's all good. It's all good. But that's what I love about having a conversation with you guys about this sort of stuff. I think it's important. I didn't think we would get a real world example of it. And I think for the, but I mean, I can deal with it. I can deal with it in the same way that if anything comes along, you deal with it, you learn with it. If people want to work with it, fantastic. If people don't want to work with it, it's cool too. The truth of the matter is, at least the way I see it, and let me just share this really quickly, is you can have the best intention in the world, but you can't be responsible for how people perceive that. You can put out a peace offering, or you can go and you can ask questions or whatever. You can't be responsible for how that is going to be taken on board. What you can do is keep yourself open to be able to deal with whatever comes away. And you know what? Cool. I just, that I feel like I just got trolled, and I just got trolled, and you know what? That's cool. I will take the steps that I will, and you know what? In the same way, other people can go do other things. It's crazy. Elfsa said it. It's a complete irony.
I will say
complete.
Gilly P, I love you.
I love you too, BK.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
You know what? You just take it one step at a time.
You're my hero. One of my heroes.
It's so weird, man. I mean, just like after being away because of some medical stuff for a week, this is not the way you want to come back and be like, by the way, the first thing I want to tell you is you did the wrong thing. And I'm like, what?
Well, I mean, like, it's funny. We're all streamers here. I think we've all experienced. Yeah. I'm not sure, but maybe CoinCap, you run a pretty tight ship. How dare you? No, wait, have you had that though? I've had it where I've been like total trolled and I lost my freaking mind.
Well, I don't know if I've been total trolled. I wouldn't say that, but I mean, there's definitely been streams where, you know,
Yeah, those are exaggeration
something
terms.
got
I
under
didn't
my
really lose
skin.
mind. Yeah, it's the same
Sure.
thing. Yeah, it gets under your skin.
And that actually happened a little bit last night. I mean, I said what I needed to say. I'm kind of the type of, I think sometimes this stuff can get out of hand because people kind of want to dance around it and sweep it under the rug. I'm not saying any of us do that. I'm just saying in general, I think things can get bigger than they need to be because it's not out in the open, right? Like there's these whispers, or we kind of talk about it, but we don't really. And I'm the type of person, I'm just going to, let's go straight to it, right? Because that's what's going to deal with it, right? So last night I said, okay, this isn't a topic that I really wanted to discuss tonight, and I'm talking about my stream last night, but they brought it up, they pushed the agenda, and I said, okay, well, you know what? We're going straight at it then, because I don't want to dance around this and have this lingering and continuing on and on. And hi, Avery. How you doing?
No, he just decided to come
Avery
say
to the
hello.
rescue.
Yeah.
How you doing, Betty? See, he's a good friend.
Oh,
He trolls me too at night. He jumps all over me and slip. Come on.
So I mean, that's kind of, and I think we did that kind of here, right? We're like, oh, well, look at this. Let's just go for it and talk about it, and that's what we did.
Hell yeah!
And I think that helps to ultimately resolve it for the long term better when you just go straight.
I think a lot of the times where that doesn't help resolve is the holding on to some side has to be right and someone has to be doing it wrong and someone has to be doing it right. Either way, it doesn't matter which side you take. That is the mindset that will keep it lingering too. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way to keep it lingering, because I think you're exactly right, Quinca. Facing it front, like, and just laying the cards on the table should end the hand, you know. But it's when things go on where we try to. I mean, it is one of my only things I don't talk about in my chat is politics, and it goes down that line. Sure. That's why, because I believe pride and politics go hand in hand, and it's like, yeah, like one side's right, the other side's wrong, where it's usually somewhere in between and meeting in the middle with a compromise instead of saying, you know, always pointing finger. What was that? The old thing, like if you point one finger out, the other four are going right at you or whatever it is. The other three are going right back at you or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you for the lemon, Gates.
What's up, Gates? Thank you.
Cuddle time with Papa.
Yeah, he just he's kind of cool. Yeah, thanks, Jester. You know what? For what it's worth, Avery, who's my cat who just came in, he knows, man. He gets it. I mean, that's the wonderful thing. You talk about respect, and I kid you not, it's not just a language thing. There's more to it. I mean, he's an incredibly respectful cat. Hey, Gates, thank you so much for the follow as well.
Thank you.
Gates.
You know, if you've been a pet owner, you've had a relationship with animals, you can't have this sort of conversation. But if there's whoa, what was that?
Was this is futile? Thank you, Gates.
Diamond.
PP.
Thank you so much, Gates. Appreciate that very much.
You know, it kind of comes in, and like I said, there is respect there. It just takes different forms, and respect comes from acceptance. And then again, that's been our whole kind of message on the stream tonight. It's really come from this idea that if we can accept everyone, even if you don't like it, it's not about whether you like it, but if you can step away from this right or wrong, kind of nonsense that goes on. I think, you know, we have done, we as in mankind, right? The human race, we've done some incredible things, man. When you think about it, we've split the atom, we've gone into space. Whether or not you want to say that we've gone to the moon or not, that's another conversation when it comes to people here on Dlive. But we have been able to lengthen people's lives through understanding the human body, science, math. We have created the most emotional pieces of music, art, literature. We have fought on the sports field. We have pushed ourselves to the limit. We have gone to every part of this amazing planet, and we still haven't really learned the lesson that we need to accept everyone. And that's what it comes down to: accepting the differences and understanding them. And I look, I can't speak for anyone else, but I spent quite a few years trekking around this planet. I met people that I never thought I would meet. And when I understood who they were and what they stood for and what was important to them, in the end, they did exactly the same thing I did. So why fraction people off, right? It's too easy to point the finger and go, hey, you know what? He's wrong, therefore I'm right. Therefore I'm right. You know, I don't need to do anything. I'm the authority in the situation. And again, you know what? That's exactly kind of what we saw.
Don't you love it when your heroes prove you right? I'm just kidding. Like, yeah, that was beautiful, man. I think I know. Well, my hero, not a hero. Just don't worry. I'm crazy, so don't worry. You can be one of my heroes, not everybody's hero. But no, like that is Gil is on fire. Exactly. I'm like, oh, yes, this is exactly what I felt when I saw it. That's why do you think I love? Why I love my two trilogy brothers. Coin Captain was on when I first saw him. I was like, this is my guy. Like, he's amazing. Like, spitting wisdom with peace and positivity, just like Gil is doing it right there. Where it's like, yeah, you're huge wisdom with peace and positivity with acceptance.
I don't know about you guys. I get frustrated. And I get frustrated that we aren't living up to our potential. We don't have to be there 100%. But you know what? I don't remember the world being in the state that it's in right now. I've never been able. I just it breaks my heart. And now maybe that's too positive. But
the positivity of me is that's what I mean. Like that, when you were talking, I was thinking streaming got me to meet some people I never thought I'd meet before. Like you were talking about actually being there internationally, but I was thinking like, that's the streaming thing right there. Like, that's why I was like speaking to my heart. I'm like, oh yeah, once you open your door to streaming and stay in there, it's like, yeah, you meet people you never thought you'd meet. And
100%.
Like, I mean, 2 examples right here for me, but there's many others, not just you two, but there's so many. And it's like, yeah, the accepting, focusing on that is such a good positive message. I loved it, because it's like, yeah, if you don't accept them for who they are, what are you doing? Like, you're not respecting them. That's what we're kind of getting at. It's like, yeah, go ahead, Coin.
And you mentioned, Gil, the state of the world right now, and that makes, I mean, there's 100 reasons for or examples of negativity in the world right now, and we definitely do not need any more, right? Because
exactly,
I think, with my stream and this stream and all of that, like I really think it's important to inject as much positivity as possible, because those negative reasons already, or those negative examples and that negative energy already exists in so many arenas and so many. When people come and hang out on Dlive, I mean, there might be a handful that are here literally for the drama, but I would say 99.8% are here because they want to get away from all the negativity that exists on the world. They want to hang out with their friends. They want to feel better about something that's going on with them. They want to share a moment or an experience with another person when they can't do that in real life now because of the state of the world. And
right.
And so I well, it's true. And so I think, and I'm going to say this, I think it's important work. I mean, it's an important thing to do, because, 2 years ago, live streaming, I would say this might be a little controversial, but I would say it had a little bit less importance.
Sure.
Than it does now. Now I think there's more weight because it has more power, because this is one of the few ways that we can connect with each other in light of what's going on in the world. And so to use that for a positive message, a positive force to better the world is so important, because otherwise, well, what I'm saying is there's so few tools at our disposal. I can't talk. There are so few.
You're on fire, Captain.
I know. Put it out. There are
it's hard to talk when you're on fire. Don't worry about it.
Disposal right now to connect with each other. So it's critically important that we use this one for positive connection. That's what I'm
100%.
saying. Okay.
Can I? It's interesting because I started streaming as the community of Melbourne, Victoria, and in Australia got locked down for 6 months. And I knew a couple of things. I knew that I would go a little wacky if I didn't speak to people. And originally my idea was to reach out to people in the community. I just didn't realize Dlive was going to reach out to a whole lot of people, right? So I mean, I that was my first kind of focus when it came to Dlive, and you know, what I ended up discovering is, you know, I consider Coin Captain BK outside of the Trilogy Show to be some of my kind of closest friends right now. We speak quite often. We're working on projects together, and it comes from a great place of respect. The other thing that I feel like I have to say this, because I don't want people to say, well, you know what, you could look probably at a replay of this and be like, you know, that Gil, that he thinks he knows it all. No, I don't know it all. You know what? I'm a human being. We are all human beings. I'm going to make mistakes. And I'm gonna, you know, I might hit some marks and I might miss them, right? And part of being respectful and showing respect to other people is understand that sometimes people mess up. I am not perfect. No, neither is Coin Captain. No, neither is BK. We are human beings, all of us. Well, you may be a god, BK, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm just a landly human being that's just trying to do their best in what is being presented towards them. Am I, you know, righteous and therefore 100% correct in every situation? Absolutely not. But the one thing that I am willing to say here is, whatever the situation, I'm you know, as long as, you know, as long as it hasn't crossed a line where you've got to say, okay, well, now I've got, you know, I need to kind of cut this off or move away from it or anything like that. You know, I'm happy to have conversations, absolutely. And it's a real shame that you know, if the conversation is going to lead somewhere and we can grow from it, everything is open. If it's not, if it's just going to be a conversation to say you're wrong, I'm right, and we've worked that out that way and all the rest of it, they're not, you know, no one's interested in that sort of stuff. So I love the fact, and in fact, BK, I don't know, well, I'm sure, I hope you feel comfortable saying this, but you've done a number of streams with some other streamers. And, you know, the thing that blew me away when we started Trilogy and we came together and we started talking about it is just the fact that, you know, you were like, I love this. The communication's open. If you don't like something, you say it and we work on it and we move forward. And that is a rarity. That is something that we are collectively missing in the world right now, which is to say, hey, you know what? I might not agree with the action you took, but hey, like, if we can have the conversation and start discussing it, right? We don't have to have the answer, but if we can put it on the table, then at least you don't walk out the door going, you know what, I'm so angry, let's go burn the building down so someone can see and hear me. Mm-hmm. And we've seen, like, you know, it so broke my heart seeing what was going on in the US. You know, I was seeing live streams on Facebook of friends of mine whose businesses were boarded up, and they're like, I don't know if I'm going to have my business the next day because of rioting, right? Doesn't need to be that way. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. Not going to say that the path to having those conversations aren't going to be fraught with potholes that people are going to fall. But there was an amazing poem that I'll just that I learned a long time ago, and it makes so total sense. It's like, I walk down the street, I fall in a hole. I don't know why I fall in the hole. It takes me forever to get out of it. I continue, and then it was like, I walk down the street. I know there's a hole in the road. I fall in it. It takes me forever to get out. I continue down the street. I walk down the street. I know there's a hole. I fall in it. I get out of the hole a little bit faster, and I continue down the street. And then the last verse says, I walk down the street. I see the hole. I walk down another street altogether. And this was, you know, a way of kind of embodying how human beings learn, and better themselves. And it's like, that's what you got to realize. You don't have to realize. I don't want to use language that's like, you have to, because that's not what I'm talking about. But there is always another street to walk down.
It makes me think of one of my favorite lines from Star Wars, because I'm trying to get you back someday, Mr. Top.
Go for it.
But no, it's like, it's your focus determines your reality. That was one of my favorite lines, and it's kind of like that, where if you focus on the negative, you'll get more negative. If you focus on that, if you focus on the whole, there's tons of things I remember. It goes back to an episode of Frasier, where wherever he focuses on something, he's trying to avoid it, but he focuses on it, so he hits it every time, right? It's like, that's type of the thing where it's like, if you're focusing on the negatives and trying to squash them all out, you're missing the positives as well. And I think that's what I was getting at too, where it's like, that's how you learn. You actually have to look outside of what you're focusing on. Your focus will determine reality. And the more you actually take it outside from bettering yourself, improving yourself, but also accepting others as well. Like that, you see, again, if you focus on accepting instead of judging, it'll be better in the long term, I hope. I think
the
so.
The learning is in the failure, right? It's not learning something and doing it right the first time out. It's actually stopping and going, all right, I fell in that hole. What did I do? Where was it that I fell? Okay, I fell now. Cool, I know how to get myself out there. Well, you can get really, really good at pulling yourself out of the hole. But the real trick is being able to analyze what's going on there. So when you're in the hole, when you've fallen, when you've failed to use language like that, and I deal with that with my students all the time. They get frustrated when they try to build something and they're like, it didn't work. And I see, kids just get so frustrated they want to walk away from it. And I'm like, no, let's talk about it. And when they come up with a solution, I go, now you learned something. It wasn't reading the list and getting all the parts together and putting it together the way you were learning. It was your ability to be able to go in there and see what wasn't working, or try something new and keep iterating until you worked out an answer. And that answer, they'll carry it for the rest of their life because they earned it, right? And there's no difference between the journeys we take, whether we're physically building something or working with relationships or anything like that. I mean, there's another fantastic kind of example. You say wisdom, but I had a great teacher who said to me once, a relationship is only defined by the person who wants it the least. What's this mean? Like, think about it for a second, BK. I'm going to throw some wisdom at BK. We'll see if he understands it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, to me, it means that both people want a relationship, but the lower one will be the one that actually goes at, because if it's not there, I don't know. I was looking for the good. What are you trying to say?
Okay, so the relationship is defined.
It's only as good as the person who puts in the least amount of effort.
That's it, right? The minute someone lets go of the relationship, that's as far as that relationship can grow, right? Oh, yeah. So let's say you meet an amazing woman and I want to get married to this person. This is the person for me. And she goes, you know what? I think I can do better.
You got me.
You can't get past that, the level that the other parties are willing to commit. Go for it, BK.
No, the way you were talking before, I really want to go down the path. The reason I answered this way is because I really wanted to go down the path. I was debating whether I should talk about it or not, because I know we're winding down on time. I was like, the more you're talking, I was like, I think knowing what you want is a big thing too.
Of course.
I think that's the part that gets left down a lot. We look at the success
and staying true to it, because sometimes that's hard. Sometimes you know what you want, but sticking with it, because like, at least with me, I get sidetracked and I kind of that's one of the reasons I do the whole thing with the goals, because it keeps me focused.
And but also, I mean, like, how many times has there been times where you actually think you know what you want, and that's why they always have the saying, "Be careful what you wish for," or you don't know what you have till it's gone, or like, all that stuff. Where it's like you think you know what you want, you get it.
Thank you, Suki.
But you don't realize you get it because you didn't actually know what you want. There's that part of it. But it's also, that's what when you were saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, it's because it's only as good as the lowest. But if we're looking, I think it's looking at the negative. That's what I mean. Where I'm like, I'm thinking, if you look at that, it's like I rail against that, and not, maybe it's my pride, but it's basically like, why can't it be better? But the positive way that I would look at it is that, no, the positive to me is that both people want a relationship. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying, Gil?
Yes.
Like, the positive
Gil's
is that,
distracted.
Yeah.
No, I was just looking at something in the chat room. No,
they want a lemon gelato. They want a lemon gelato really bad. But yeah, the positive to me is that they both want a relationship is where I'd focus on, because I understand that concept of the relationship's only as good as that. But if we focus on that, I don't know, I get angry over time. That's just me. But I'm just saying, like, because it looks at the negative aspect of it, where it's like, no, there's actually a positive in there too, and it's the fact that they both want a relationship is the positive to me.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? Like some type of relationship of symbiosis.
I can't speak for anyone else, but I mean, I know that there are people who have let go of that that possibility and of relationship. And I'm not just talking romantic relationship, but any business relationship, personal relationship, all that sort of stuff. When you realize that you can only go as far as someone's willing to commit to that level to, whether it's because they like you, they don't like you, whether they're fearful, whether they're ashamed, whether, you know, there's a lot of things that go in there. There's nothing you can do that can change that. There's just nothing you can do. And that's not always reflecting back on someone else. So I guess why I brought this up was, again, coming back down to respect, is that, you know, respect is also understanding that, you know, just because you can look into someone's cupboards when you're over at someone's house, it's respectful not to do that. Everyone needs a space for them to be themselves. And, you know, and that's, you know.
Yeah, you accept that one person wants a different relationship. Exactly. Same thing.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, 100%. So I know you were talking about time, and we've been here now for a while. Gee,
maybe we should go to the after party. There is a party.
We should. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that,
my
guys.
Goodness.
I guess I'm on top, so I should wrap it up. But I want to thank everyone for being here. This is, you know, the last couple of streams, we've been trying to do things a little differently. We want to see what you guys enjoy as well. If you haven't, definitely become a member of our Discord so you can come and drop your questions and see what's going on there. This was a hell of an interesting stream for so many different reasons. But again, you know what? I love the fact that I get to do it with the one and the only BK Johnson and the Coin Captain.
Love you too,
and
Gilly
you guys
P.
are incredibly awesome. We are going to do I'm actually not going to stream, but what I'm going to do is I'm coming over to BK Johnson's channel, and the Coin Captain and I, we're going to throw down on Best of 5 of Dlive.
Oh yeah.
You want to see Trilogy go to head to head? Well, we can't really go head to head, but we're gonna do a trilogy game show where Gilly P.
we're gonna go and do that. So you know, guys, you're more than welcome to join us. We will be back next week with a possibly 3 questions, or we'll see what else we come up with.
Let's do 100.
Let's do 100. Yes.
Quick fire.
Are we ever gonna do a 24-hour trilogy stream?
8 hours each, baton baby.
Also, just before we go, Total Siege reminded me, Doomwave and I are also doing a Best of 5 on Dlive.
Gilly's getting addicted.
This Thursday, which is Friday for me in Australia. And
taking ass and kicking names.
Doomwave's been talking a little bit of SmackDown, so definitely come in and check. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see what's going on there. Coin Captain, yes, BK sir. Johnson, thank you so much, man.
You're
thank
welcome,
you so much.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, well, and thank you. And
no,
thank you. Thank everyone.
No,
Gil, thank you.
Thank you. And viewers, thank you. Exactly.
It's all good.
No, Gil, you.
You.
No, you.
No, you, Gil. No, you.
No, it's you.
I just realized what you were doing. Yeah, oh my god.
Oh god.
No, you, Captain. No, you, Captain.
Gil.
No, you. No, you, Captain. No, you. We definitely have to mature to stream it if we were going to do that sort of stuff. Oh man, actually, I haven't been on Lolo's stream in a while, but I'll have to get back on that. I've just been away, and it's just good to be back, guys. We are Trilogy, aren't we? How do we end this?
You're Gilly P.
Which is
I'm Gilly P.
I'm BK Johnson,
and I'm the Coin Captain.
And together, we
are
Trilogy.
We'll catch you guys
See you
real
next
soon.
week. We're gonna come to BK Johnson channel. Mine.
Best of 5.
Best of 5 of Dlive. Bye,
Best of 5 Dlive. Let's do it. The party continues.